sails. Oh, it'd be alright if the wind was in our sails. Oh, it'd be alright if the wind was in our sails, and we'll all hang on behind, and we'll roll. Everyone move now. Chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll the old chariot along, and we'll all hang on behind. Oh, it'd be alright if we make it around the horn. Oh, it'd be alright if we make it around the horn. Oh, it'd be alright if we make it around the horn, and we'll all hang on behind, and we'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll the old chariot along, and we'll all hang on behind. Well, a night on the town wouldn't do us any harm. Well, a night on the town wouldn't do us any harm, and we'll all hang on behind, and we'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll the old chariot along, and we'll all hang on behind. Well, another festival wouldn't do us any harm. Well, another festival wouldn't do us any harm, and we'll all hang on behind, and we'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll the old chariot along, and we'll all hang on behind, and we'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll the old chariot along, and we'll all hang on behind.
Somebody in the chat already beat me to it, but yes, in fact, we did get World War III before GTA 6. Unbelievable.
Damn.
Yeah, but how's everybody's night going, Bones? You you ready for another deployment to the Middle East?
Yeah, I can't wait to be born just in time to go back to the sandbox.
4 generations, good sir.
Yeah.
Richard, how's your night going? Glad to have you back.
He's not back. I killed him.
In fact, not back.
Oh,
Wait,
I am big retarded. I was muted. Nobody told me. Oh,
well, we can't know that you're talking. We can't see you. It's just
ah.
blank screen over there. Also, you gotta change your PFP to something of shame for tonight. For missing so many shows, unbelievable.
I will do that. So I hope everybody's having a great night, and I'm ready for it.
Absolutely. Based shirt Jake, how's your night going?
My night is going fantastic.
Excellent.
Yeah, nothing to report, I guess.
Good to hear. I mean, slip back, watch World War III. Oh, actually, that's appropriate for tonight. Thank you, Richard.
Yes, sir.
Just watch
Hell
the
yeah.
fireworks with the boys. July 4th comes a little bit early. Fantastic footage, I do have to say. Being able to live stream the apocalypse was not a perk I was thinking of in 2025. So
You can live stream it everywhere except for in Israel.
oh yeah, I did.
Well,
see
that's
that.
because they don't need a live service. They're living it right now.
Well, they had a media blackout. They don't want to show any of the impacts or anything like that. So their state media is saying do not post any pictures, videos, anything like that whatsoever.
Interesting.
Freshwater Sailor says Zootopia PFP for Richard. I'm pretty sure you were the former T-Rex employee, Freshwater Sailor. Probably need
Judy
some
hops up there.
Bruh.
No, that's a corner of the internet that I would nuke that faster than
It needs.
Israel or
Never
Iran.
mind. I'm not gonna reference that. Never mind.
Yeah,
Wrong
no,
personality. Let's move on.
Yeah, camera work could be better though. That's the thing. It's anybody has access to it. That's the thing. Yeah, nothing ever happens. A few things happen. A few things
Except
happen.
when
but
it
they don't
does.
Yeah. Oh, actually, that's something that I forgot to pull up. Richard, could you find the No Kings protest map? Because there might be one in Sioux Falls.
It's
Hmm.
everywhere.
Yeah, I know, but I might go check it out and like call them retards in person. I think that might be fun.
Hell yeah. Space
Yeah,
John
there's-
activities.
There's one planned here, I know, and a family member of mine is going. So that'll be interesting.
Like as an active positive participant?
Yes. It's a family member I do not agree with ideologically.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
The Civil War
There-
2.0.
I was gonna go to one of the 30 locations they have in Chicago, but I don't know if I will because I have real job things to do and I might not make it. So we'll see.
It looks like
I-
there just might be one near you, John.
RC
Okay.
says, yeah, there are 8 in North Dakota. Sioux Falls definitely has one. It has to have one.
I see
like-
2 at least.
Where's the actual map? Oh my gosh. Jeez Louise.
Yeah,
God.
it's wild. Any town with like more than 40,000 people, it has a location.
Sioux Falls, 300 Minnesota Avenue. So let me see here. Do.
Of course, it's Minnesota.
Minnesota,
Avenue.
eh?
I'm actually curious where that's at in Sioux Falls.
I think Minnesota has more of a Somali accent now, Bones.
Oh no! I guess my father got
Yeah.
out just in time.
We can move on to our first topic of the night. This is the spoiler to the Sig Next event, which was supposed to be coming out on June 19th. So this is going to be happening this week, next week, middle of next week. They're having their big Next event, which is, I guess, where they reveal all of the new products that are coming out. And Brandon somehow managed to get pictures of the main leak that most people are interested. He managed to get these pictures somehow ahead of time and was like, hey, I will just spoil the release with these pics from Soldier Systems, the updated Sig 516. It's back.
Wow! Another AR. Wait, is it? I'm not
Oh,
super
it's-
familiar. Is it piston
It's
driven?
way worse. So the original Sig 516, which is on top, is mostly AR-like. Very cool. Actually, a product from Sig that I really like. The new 516 looks to be more of an MCX style weapon than the previous iterations.
Okay.
So this new generation, which the Sig 516 actually does still have some military contracts, this thing is just kind of hideous.
It does
Like,
not
really
look pretty.
ugly. It has a completely redesigned bolt, forward assist, ejection, shell deflector, which is really obnoxious. And then it has this upper receiver that for some reason is like 2 inches taller. That's what it looks like. It's probably like a
Yeah,
half
why
inch to three
why
quarters
it's
of
so
an inch.
fat?
Is it a piston driven
It's-
system? Because it does have a folding stock, so its spring is in there?
No.
Control spring?
So the 516 is more AR like than the MCX platform. So it does
Okay.
still utilize the buffer tube. Think like a HK 416 because it
Okay.
was actually, so for the Sig 516 actually had the same designers as the HK 416, but then Sig bought them out and they updated it. And then Caracal, which is in the UAE, they bought those designers out again and they built the Caracal 816. So the 516 originally was kind of like a Gen 2 HK 416, and I think it's actually better than the 416 in a lot of ways. But this one is looks very unique. And if we look on the left
Whoa.
side, for some reason, they decided to add in both side charging, like the spear, and rear charging. So you have this dual charging system with this hideously tall upper receiver and handguard. The handguard itself looks like it's semi-monolithic, although I guess not really. It just indexes, into the upper receiver. So it is still 2 separate parts because you can see the line here. But so it indexes into the upper receiver somehow. So what's funny is the 516 Gen 2 or whatever they are going to call it probably has a way better rail than the actual Spear or MCX, because both of those have had problems since their inception. So it's an interesting blend of ugliness, and if I wasn't so down on Sig, it might be interesting. As people are saying in the chat, 300 built-in MOA. Yeah, sometimes yeah, that height over board measured in yards. Yes, it's they took the 516, which is again just a generic AR, but with a piston system slapped into it, and a pretty good one at that. But they made it look way worse, way worse.
I believe there's a few people from our Discord that are big 516 enjoyers.
Yeah, but they would also be nimmers, and we don't associate with nimmers.
And Dank.
And we
Dank
have
has
a
one
we
as
have
well.
we have a strict no nimming policy, so that would we wouldn't want to bring those people up on stream now, would we? But yeah,
We
so
might
the
get
Sig
shot.
516, it's coming out again, and you might get shot in the head. Well, you're not a female, so I don't think you have much to worry about. But yeah, you no need to buy an aftermarket Hydra mount. It actually comes with one built in. Now,
Oh, perfect.
something
Jesus.
I don't. Is that real? Siley unofficial.
I think it is.
Dropped $500.
Holy moly!
Which
Well,
is
you
almost as
know
many
what?
viewers. Actually, at that time, that was more people than were in the chat. So that is absolutely insane.
This
Damn.
is
This
them
is
making
interesting.
good on last stream.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
like,
but I
no
still
more,
rate
no
out-
more super chats.
No more super. Actually, no. We just end the stream right now. That
Yeah,
was a good run, guys. We will see you later. $500, Siley. Now, is that some sort of like marketing expense or something? Because I mean, you sent me an optic for the Gun.Deals channel that I reviewed over there. But is this trying to buy my opinions, good sir? I don't know. But thank you, Siley.
can't-
That is absolutely insane. I'm glad that you have enjoyed the streams.
Are you trying to have sex with me?
I like to wear one around my neck because I'm gay.
As a reminder, it is still CZ month for all of you practicing CZ fanatics. Yeah, about to get charged back. Well, as of right now, I guess we could update that a little bit. Is that Focus Shooting LLC, my company, we actually ended up getting even more chargebacks. They grew up to 4 or 5, but I've won a couple of them. So we're just going to continue to win them and get our money back from that. So, but thank you, Siley. That is absolutely insane. I wish your Wolf EDG wasn't quite so ugly, but thank you for the $500, man. That is wild. Thank you very much.
and then
And
support.
I don't know what to say about that. I've never. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's-
These streams are not worth $500, sir, but I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Also, if you did send me an email, I didn't get it. I looked in all my emails in my spam folder, but I didn't get it. ND Cody for $2 says Sigs next should just sell Sig NPASs, the N passes. Oh, okay, I see. That's good. That's a good idea. Thank you for the $2, sir. But no, they even have even more stuff on here. So the 516. Oh, let's just go to Sig's own Twitter account here. So it looks like they're coming out with their own P320 chassis or P365 chassis. They're doing something with that. So they have this little deploy button on their little, blacked out, stylized, little teaser for their next product. Spoiler alert, it's a $2,000 chassis for your Sig P320.
It'd be really cool if they
Yay.
had the Sig Next program and it was just, sorry, we fixed our shitty M17 and P320 issues.
Silent Official says, I figure you don't often review our products and probably won't again. I would rather dono memes that get reviews if you have to make a choice. Well, that is wild, sir. And I, now I feel like I have to actually spend that money and get something else to review to give you guys a fair shake. Don't LNS me. No, it's not going to happen. Thank you very much, sir. Although it's publicly on stream, so if you're trying to buy my opinion, at least you did it publicly. Jeez.
Well,
This
I
trip
can
is
say
now
this.
bought and paid for a stylish show.
This
Nope,
is yeah.
I bought it silently before they even knew who I was. Before they still don't know who I am, but I have one sitting in there, and I had planned on doing a review on it eventually. So yeah, they didn't buy my opinion. I will tell you if it sucks. Spoiler alert: so far, it doesn't. For $100, it doesn't. It does everything I want it to do. But eventually, I will get around to doing a review once my life calms down a little bit.
Support your stream, guys. Yeah, support your local homeless streamers.
Yes.
Very much not homeless, but thank you very much. That's greatly appreciated.
I'm not
Wild.
yet.
Yeah, the P321. That would actually this would actually be a really funny time for them to try and win back support by coming out with some other product. Now, if they brought out a P320 chassis like the Flux Raider or whatnot, and it was like under $1,000, I think a lot of people would be very, very happy about that. Very, very happy.
I think that they just seen the market share that Flux Raider was getting off of their 365 thing, the little thing that Ian's competing with now, and they're like, "Hey, that could be our money."
Basically, yeah. Yeah, they have a few other little teasers out, some optic. People are theorizing that maybe they are going to bring back their battle series of their prisms. If you guys remember those from back in the day, Sig had a full line of prism optics that kind of competed with like Burris and not really ACOGs, but maybe the Steiner and a few other of those big full-size prism sites. So maybe they'll bring something like that back. Who knows? And a spotting scope that has like internal stabilization. Not super exciting. Nothing there is really all that exciting, except for some people like the Flux Raider. Not my thing. Maybe Brassfax. I mean, actually, Brassfax almost certainly will have a video on this if it's even remotely useful. And then the Sig 516. And I like the 516. The original 516 is one of my favorite piston setups for an AR, especially if you can find the 10.5s or 11.5s. But now buying a modern one that's hideous, that's an inch taller, probably not. And the fact that it's probably going to cost $2,000, which is cheap compared to the MCX, which is like $2,500 to $3,000, right? Wild.
On this topic, I received a
100%.
tip from somebody who will remain nameless, someone close to the matter, who gave me some information that the only thing I could really draw from it was that Sig is probably going to be releasing a 2011.
Okay. I mean,
I don't think
that kind of
that's
checks
really.
out.
I don't.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't think that's really what anybody wants because 2011s are kind of gay and retarded. But
I think. Well, I
there's that.
actually disagree. I actually disagree with you on that because 2011s are just getting more and more popular, right? We went from having like 2-3 main brands to now having like import 2011s. We have cheap 2011s. We have 2011s for $500. We have the mid range. Now we have like 10 brands or more, probably 12 to 13 brands that you can go and get a somewhat mediocre 2011 from. I think there is a huge spot in the marketplace for that. And
I have a feeling that if Sig releases one, it will be neither cheap nor particularly good.
well,
But that's
right.
just
but
my
what's
my
the
2 cents.
Springfield one? The Springfield Prodigy. Those are what,
Yeah.
$2,000, $1,500, $2,000. And I am sure that Springfield sold a lot of them because they are a cheap 2011, right? Because even a basic staccato goes for $2,500, and a staccato is not an expensive 2011. It's an expensive handgun, but it's a mid-range in terms of 2011s. So I think Sig sees a void in the marketplace, and if they can make a steel frame for $1,500, $2,000, I think they are going to sell a lot of them. And especially if they're hammer fired, steel frame with a Series 70 trigger, so it's actually drop safe. It's harder to screw up somebody else's design than to keep working off of your own P320, right? And we've actually seen a lot of departments switch from, Glocks, MMPs, P320s to staccatos, and staccatos are marketed directly towards law enforcement. So Sig is like, well, people are dropping literally and figuratively our P320s, so maybe we should try and get back some of that market with a 2011. That actually makes sense. I can see them doing that.
Yeah. You're more optimistic on the Sig stuff than I am, I guess.
Well, I'm not optimistic on it being good, but I can see why they
Okay.
would do that. Right.
Yeah.
And I might trust their 2011 design, which is just stolen from somebody else, rather than their own unique designs, because their stuff as of late, except for their optics, have been absolute wacky. Like not my thing. Subarctic Psycho for 2 months says, "Love you guys. Stay safe. Will do. Thank you very much, sir. Hope you're having a good night. Hope everyone is having a great Friday night, relaxing, doing whatever it is that they do to unwind." Art Vandalay for 199 says, "Was Richard's assignment in Iran a success?" Yes. Very successful. Big wins all the way across. Thank you, Art Vandalay, for the 199. Takamo for 21 for $5 says, "Is Sig releasing a co-branded agency arms setup? Agency is doing a bundle for a Flux." I don't know if it's going to be a co-brand or like a collaboration, which is so lame that the industry is doing that now. But I would hope that they're just making it themselves from scratch and they're actually just doing it right from the factory, so that you can get a factory P320 or a 65 with a chassis, which is what people want, right? I don't want to go out and spend $600 on a mediocre handgun and then buy a chassis and then slap the two things together. I just want to, most people, they don't want the modularity. I know that's like one of the big selling points, but most people in reality don't actually want the modularity. They just want to buy a good product and have it work from the factory. Unfortunately, that factory may or may not be in India in Sig's case, but that's what people actually want. And so I think that the Flux Raider, from Sig, whatever they end up calling it, would actually sell really well. And if they can make it in-house, they can make all the money off of it. I thank you for the $5, sir. Do any of you guys do anything with Raiders or chassis or anything like that?
Yeah. I love them. I love the idea of it altogether because I think that pistols are great, and that adding a tiny stock and brace to a pistol is even better.
I like the idea of it for sure. I've never messed with one myself. I was looking at getting one for the Glock when they had those for a very brief period of time, and now they're unobtainium and really hard to get. I see their use case, and I especially like the idea for private security work because I have a little more space to work with and would like a little more performance out of my pistol. So I think they're cool. I never really used one too much though.
Yeah, I agree with Bones on that. I would like that if I could stay within the Glock ecosystem.
Yeah, that's
right,
how
that's
I feel about it.
So I had the what was it? Recover.
Oh yeah, I've seen those the 20-70 or whatever they are. Are different models they have?
Yeah, the 2080 or 8020 or whatever they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had one of those, and I played with a couple other little chassis systems. I didn't care for the Roni chassis. I thought that was too much.
Look horrendous. The Ronis look so bad. I will not touch one.
They did not hold zero. It was not a good setup because it was, regardless of that. The Recover Tactical one it's all right because it at least holds zero because your optics direct milled to your slide, right? It's not like you're mounting it onto another platform.
Well, right, you're mounting it to something that's plastic that will flex and is separated from the slide itself and is only attached by like a tiny little rail section on the front of your polymer frame. Not a great plan.
No, it's just not right.
Says, just wait for the RXM Raider. That's true. Magpul's probably going to be coming out with their own chassis co-branded with Ruger. So after Ruger buys Anderson Manufacturing, that is. So we'll see about that. That's probably
that would be
one
pretty
of the ways
awesome.
to go. Yeah.
Well, they already have the manufacturing capabilities for a Gen 3 Glock 19 clone, so it's not that far-fetched to assume that they're gonna, that they're gonna take it to the next step.
Yeah, and I don't want to say the dirty word and get the stream nuked, but I think people have been using additive manufacturing already to make Raider like chassis for the RXM.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. Is tonight an official infomercial? No, I hope not. Huge ass for 189 says Sig 911 stronger than steel beams. That's a good one. Thank you very much, Huge ass, for the 189. SB89 for 5 says I have watched a Prodigy thumb safety fall off and then later discharge on its own. Well, it sounds like Sig has stiff competition in the 2011 space already. That's the thing, though. The Prodigies, they just have a bad reputation, and even the people that use them a lot, they have to change all the parts out on them, right? So yeah, it's not my thing. I would never spend $2,000 on a gun that barely works. Thank you, SV89 for the 5. That's wild. Yeasty G for 189 says Trench tongue punched my Duke again today. Happy face and poop emoji. That's just
none of those words are in the Bible, my friend.
Actually, tongue is, to be clear, tongue is, but the rest of it, not so much.
One of those words is in the Bible.
Son of Mandalore for $2 says Sig should just make a tactical double stack P210. I mean, they already do the 226 X5 Legion stuff, so they already make the specialized versions of the other guns. I think they want specifically to go after market, not what their Sig fans actually want. So they want to increase their user base by going after the 2011 space, because what's a factory 2011? Currently, we have Kimber, which is actually putting out some good pistols, and we have Staccato, and we have Springfield, right? And I would never recommend a Springfield Prodigy to anyone. And then you have the top tier houses, and then you have some low tier kind of import stuffs. Like you have the Platypus, which is on like a year lead time at this point. You have the Live Free Armory, which is quote unquote cheap at like $1,200, and I've heard bad things. Then you have the imports, the Alpha Foxtrot, the Romulus, which I actually got to play around with some of those at SHOT Show. Those feel really nice for about $1,300 to $1,500, which is again mid-range or even cheap for a 2011. So if Sig can come out with a quote-unquote factory 2011, they can pretty much corner the market.
We will see.
SV89, well, that's in theory, right? They're not actually going to do that. What's actually going to happen is they're going to bring out a pistol that barely works like all of their Generation 1 guns. SV89 for two says, I have and enjoy the Strike 320 SMC Bravo chassis. Is that the Strike Industries chassis? Dude, Strike Industries makes some of the most wacky, hideous things on the market.
I have a love-hate relationship with them. Some of the things I absolutely love, and then other things I'm just like, oh, that's so hideous. Why did you do that? And they are the
owned
kings.
a Strike Industries product.
I own several. They are the kings of anodizing. Unfortunately, everybody gets their anodized parts from Strike Industries.
I see the Alpha and the Charlie, but which one's the Bravo? Oh, here it is. This is the Bravo. Okay. So actually, the Bravo doesn't look too terrible. That kind of makes sense. Pull this up here. So I don't want YouTube to take us down. So this is kind of what it looks like. So it is just the lower polymer frame that essentially has a Picatinny rail in the back, and then you just slap your upper onto it with some other garbage looking stuff. I don't know. That's actually a pretty cheap way to do it. Those are only $130. So for a, not including your pistol brace or your stock, which is going to be another like $200, it's not that expensive to get a mostly what you want 320 chassis. Thank you, SB89 for the 2. Andy for 5 says, it's a strange world when the Kimber 2K11 is a better firearm than anything Sig makes. Yeah, that's a little rough. And it's actually funny because the Sig CEO used to work at Kimber when they had a terrible reputation, and then moved back, moved to Sig, and now Kimber's reputation is getting better. But thank you for the actually $1,800. $1,800 still isn't cheap, but I have again heard actually good things about the 2011 rather than it barely runs or something like that. Thank you, Andy, for the 5. Justin Hagenson for 5 says Sig Sauer should release a modular double stack Sig P210. people like the P210 apparently, but yeah, I think they want a new market share, not to just appeal to their own guys. Thank you for the 5, Justin. Solo Gorda for $4.99 says if Glock made a PCC and priced it at $700, it would fly off the shelves. If they priced it at under $1,000, it would sell like crazy.
Absolutely.
If Glock ever came out with their AR, which pictures have been floating around of that for like a year now, if not longer, they could sell it for geyser prices and get away with it, even though it's not any more expensive than anything else.
They could always take the FN route and get Delta Team Tactical to build you an AR receiver set and a cheap barrel and slap a price tag of $1,500 on it.
Damn.
Yeah, you can do that. Focus Trip, did you see there is a new Harbor Freight TLR-1 clone? I've seen a couple people send that to me. I've been using the LAPG WXL TLR-1 clones for a decade now, basically. And I have 30, 40, 50,000 rounds on them because they're just always mounted to my handguns, whatever it happens to be. So they've been working out okay, and they're in that same price point. So I mean, Streamlight products are made overseas, so it's just a matter of time before they are all cloned basically perfectly, because some Chinese company is just going to buy or steal the designs to them and then copy and paste into their own stuff and cut the price in half, basically. So I'm sure that as long as they're made okay and they have a good warranty, it's probably fine, but it's not necessarily something that I would trust my life with.
It's communism. It's our design, comrade.
Harbor Freight is
no
known
copyright
for
infringement when the government owns everything.
Harbor Freight is known for a fantastic warranty. You can just take it in and get a new one. No questions asked whatsoever.
This is very true.
All right. Let me see here. You guys are familiar with Lead and Steel, right?
Heard of them before.
We talked about them a few streams ago, right?
Yeah. Well, this is fun because as always, somebody gets a little unhinged and wishes for John to die. But Hop posted this. It says LNS doing a little shameless botting in the YouTube comments as if they couldn't get any more reprehensible. Now, he made a video very nicely talking about what companies you should support, and he goes through some of his reasoning and whatnot, especially, going after the whole T-Rex arms debacle, which Lucas was also on Ben Steger's channel this morning. You guys should go watch that video. It's about a 35-minute interview with some additional information about what's coming next from Lucas, not T-Rex Arms, but coming from Lucas Botkin. So you guys should go check that out. But in that video that Hop made about what company should you support, he basically has a couple jabs at L&S and their Lead and Steel, Lie and Steel, Loathe and, whatever it might be, L&S. And for some reason, there's internet defenders of LNS that really like them for some reason or other. I think they're garbage people personally, especially the owner, Mr. Ahmad. But Lead and Steel crucified for defending themselves. Focus Trip is the Jerry Springer of gun tubers. They're never beating the Jerry allegations, that's for sure. He thrives on nothing but drama and gossip. And then this totally not real YouTube account comments and says it's only a matter of time before one of these right-wing dinglings gets angry enough and puts Focus Trip in the dirt. It's coming. ... And I'll laugh my ass off when it does. What a wild thing to say.
It's coming.
He says it's coming, but it's only a matter of time before one of these right-wing dinglings gets angry enough and puts Focus Trip in the dirt. They really like me. Very true. And now I don't know why he thinks that right-wing people are going to do it. I would always think it's going to be an unhinged leftist, right?
Yeah.
Some whack job that's going to be like, oh, Focus Trip said this one thing that I don't like. He goes against my company values, so I must murder him for some reason. I mean, this is like, at this point, I'm averaging like one death threat a week. Which is like, just normal at this point. Then you have people like trying to charge back on my my company, steal money from me and my family. All this lame stuff, right?
One per week. You need to bump those numbers up. I've gotten at least 3 just for this stream, just because I've interrupted you.
I you see, I would say that mine are undeserved though, Richard. That's the difference.
Oh, okay.
Damn.
Yeah, I do
No,
deserve
I'm
it.
just kidding.
I
I'm just
do.
kidding.
I
I'm
do
just
deserve it.
We should have a
Uh,
Discord channel in which it's all the death threats that
Just
John
Death
gets.
Thread Central. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, but somebody happened to reach out to me on Discord actually and was like, "Hey, you want to talk about L&S?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he wants to come on the show and defend the honor of Loath and Steel live for all of your guys' enjoyment. And we're gonna, I guess, debate the merits of lead and steel. Now, I've been collecting just little tidbits of info here and there on Mr. Ahmad. I was going to do a dedicated video on it, but I suppose we'll just do it live with the real lead and steel defender, the greatest lead and steel defender on the internet for all of your enjoyment. And I think that might be on Tuesday.
Nice.
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck. It should be a fun time. Should be a fun time. Yes. Lead and Steel's greatest defender based. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how that. I think it's going to be very fun. I think it's going to be a great time. And I told the guy, I was like, "Listen, you know, my audience is not kind. This is not going to be a friendly environment for you to be." And he's like, "Yeah, I know." And so yeah, we'll do it live. We'll have a nice little discussion of me and him talking about the merits or lack thereof of lead and steel. Should be a good time. And I got to pull out all of my research. Huge Ass 499 says I'd rather just use a modern design instead of a double stack 1911 of any kind. I mean, I think I kind of agree with that, but I after shooting some 2011s, like I get it, like they're really nice. So, and if you're chasing just what is the best in terms of I guess trigger weight and capacity, it kind of is a 2011, but a custom 2011. So I mean, you're going to be spending a lot of money. If you want the best of the best, you're going to spend a lot of money to get it. SB89
John,
for 2. Yo,
I was
go
gonna
for it.
ask, are you like 2011 pilled now that you've had some time behind the
No, I don't like
STI?
the STI. Actually, Ben Steger, he commented on my Instagram post that I put of it this morning, and I was like, it feels surprisingly cheap because the grip and everything's all plastic and the trigger's plastic and whatnot. And Ben said, what did he say? I'll have to look that up. He said like terrible or trash firearm or something like that. And I have
I
to
think he
agree with
said
him.
trash gun.
Trash gun.
I was in the
What was
voice
his
call. I was in the voice chat with somebody, and he was kind of upset at Ben for that. I think you know who it is.
It's Mike. Well, Mike's been on the show before, so you can say it's Mike. Yeah, Ben Steger called it a trash gun, and I told him that my opinion is now validated. It just feels cheap for a $3,000 steel framed handgun that has a plastic grip module, plastic trigger, plastic magwell. That's only 40 ounces. Like, the upper feels nice. The trigger's really good, but I don't enjoy shooting it. And it cuts. I actually shot it again today. And I either have to have my hand taped or the gun taped to not cut myself while shooting it. So, you know, and I shot it side by side with my Canic, which you're not going to like. And then I shot it also side by side with my Glock 17. And they were both so much more pleasant to actually shoot than this 40 ounce, quote unquote steel firearm. So, yeah, I'm not 2011 pilled as of the moment. I've shot much nicer 2011s than that I had a much better time with. But the STI and 40, not loving. The old edge, as they say. SB89 for 2 says, lol, who is to the right of this stream? I don't know. I don't think there is a further right streamer on YouTube that's allowed on YouTube. Nick for $5 says, y'all just wait until Focus Trip starts paternity testing Garantham's ex-girlfriends live on stream, dude. That would be wild. That's never gonna happen though. Oh gosh. That's not I'm not gonna touch that with the 10-foot pole. All right.
Are the father every single time.
You are the father, even to people he's never met before. Absolute Moon Man, never seen it before, but that's a very cool PFP you got there with the Burger King crown. Awesome. For $20, thank you very much. Says, weird right wingers just cry on social media and never do anything spicy. A lefty, on the other hand, would be the one to play Minecraft. So wait, are you talking about a lefty would be the guy to actually go through with it?
I think that's what he's saying. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to pull up like real world examples in my head, and I'm not. I don't know.
Luigi Mangione.
Yeah, but would you consider him lefty? Yeah.
Oh,
Generic?
absolutely.
No.
I don't remember
He
what was in
lived
his
in a-
manifesto, but there was a lot of I don't know much about this, so I'm
I
going to
looked
quote
into
someone
the
else.
commune. I looked into the commune where he lived before this in Hawaii.
Okay.
It was absolutely a most people would call it a hippie commune. No, it was a communist gathering. It was just it was very, very weird. It was almost cult like. Like they had community leaders, they had counseling sessions, it was very, very strange. But yeah, I would classify him as very far left. Some of the books that he had checked out and read.
Tracks.
Ooh.
I mean, listen, here's the thing, guys. Ahmad's donation history is public knowledge. It's public information. You could just look up what PACs he's donated to in the past. It's just out there. So people get mad at Springfield or some of these other guys for their political donations. You can just look up Lead and Steel and Ahmad's. It's pretty simple. Dudes did spend $5 to hate on a 2011. Absolutely.
Based.
I couldn't think of a better use of $5. But thank you,
Exactly.
Absolute Moon Man, for $20. I mean, I'm not really worried about it. Not a thing. David for 2 says, "Is it the same sober guy that tried to defend Sig?" No, this is a different defender, not the Sig defender. You're getting your defenders mixed up. This is the Lead and Steel defender. Todd and Dogs for $2 says, "Reminder that Trench has a black pen is." Interesting. Thank you very much for the $2, Todd and Dogs. Noob Actual says, "Gay or based to become a deputy sheriff?" Guess
That
it
depends. It very much so depends
Yeah.
on the area and what the sheriff's department's views are. My local sheriff, and I'll be doxing myself here a little bit, but he recently come out and said we will shoot protesters dead.
Oh,
So-
yeah, I
We
did
will,
see that.
Yeah, if you hold a brick, a weapon, or point a gun at our deputies, we will inform your relatives of where they can pick up your remains, and we will put you in the ground, a graveyard dead.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
moly. He was not joking.
That
He
seems
is based.
reasonable to me.
I mean, if
is-
you point a gun at cops, yeah, you're probably going to get shot. You're probably going to die.
and it's funny because I've
I
met the
think
man.
That's reasonable.
He is
Yeah.
probably one of the most kind people that you will ever meet. And he's
Yeah, I mean,
he's funny too. But he is absolutely serious when he says that.
if
Yeah,
you look
very,
not to
very
like derail
Florida.
too much, but if you look what's going on in California and how violent and crazy it's been, and now this massive nationwide protest that's going to happen in every city that has more than 60,000 people in it, it's very high tensions for sure.
Yeah, it's very much high tensions. What is up with that profile?
It's so funny.
Dude, it's
ECG,
so my god.
it's hard. It's yeah. ECG for 199 says, "French grenade, give amazing tug jobs, drooling face, fist emoji." Unbelievable ECG for 199. Because there was probably some people that missed it earlier. We'll go back to the 516. Thomas Shoes World says, "Sig is bringing back the 516. Where did this news come from?" Well, this came from Mr. Brandon FDW on Twitter, who says, "Let me just spoil the release with these pics from Soldier Systems, the updated Sig 516, which is a little bulbous in the back, you could say, with a built-in 193 riser or something. A really
Sheet thick.
tall left side charging handle on the new 516. Looks ugly AF. I hope it's actually good, but it's I'm not gonna buy it.
Would
Yeah,
you say
that
it
is
has
hideous.
a bulge in the back?
Bulge on the side, actually, with this thing
Okay.
sticking out of it.
Yeah.
I
What
don't-
is that
I think that's a
large,
tumor.
what is that plate thing on the side?
Oh,
It
this
just
is the
looks very-
charging
on that-
handle. This is
above
the
it.
left side. That is so that is
bulge.
a steel insert into the upper receiver that the cam path rides on, similar to the Sig Spear. That is a replaceable component. So like on an AR-15, that's not replaceable, right? That cam path on the inside of your upper receiver, right? So after a long enough period of time, it can get damaged and worn out, right? But on SIGs, they were like, we're going to add more parts to it and make it steel so that you could just replace it every 50,000 rounds for some reason. Although, you know, usually, I mean, on an AR-15, an upper receiver is like dirt cheap. So it's not it's like, who cares, right? Just
that's
replace
also the secondary access point for when it jams and breaks. You can shove a stick in
Nice.
there to beat the
it.
case
Push
out.
it out. Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems there's a lot going on the side of that gun.
There is.
It's they
So
made
many
it,
snack
for some
points.
reason. For some reason, they cloned the NGSW requirements on the Sig 516,
They did.
which is going to make it very expensive. It's going to make it as expensive, if not nearly as expensive, as the MCXs are right now. I would be shocked if this was like less than $2,000. If it was $1,500, I would be flabbergasted. There's not a word I use every day. Absolute Moon Man for $50.
Yeah. Damn.
Wow. Unbelievable, sir. Says, can you confirm that the U.S. government supplied 320s are being dropped on Iran by the Israelis? Allegedly, the Ayatollah, peace be upon him, was wounded by one that went off when it hit the ground. I mean, the footage has been wild. I don't know if you've seen this.
Ooh.
But that is apparently that is the intercept working as intended, I suppose. So you can see the whole shockwave when the Iron Dome meets the missile of peace.
John, there is an unbroken tower in chat currently. I don't know if you saw.
I saw it. I did see it. Those guys are wild, bro. So, I mean, that actually would have been a good meme to overlay like P320s on top of these as they're flying across and then add in like the explosions or whatnot. But yeah, lots of 320s going off. You know, the funny thing is we are paying for both sides. So in a way that they are US supplied, just not exactly P320s. Thank you, Absolute Moon Man, for the 50. Absolutely wild. Noob Actual for $4.99 says, small county tells local gun shop NFA doesn't matter unless it's used in a crime, not neocon. That's a wild thing to say but the thing is, a sheriff can say anything and it does not matter. The ATF will still screw you over, throw you in jail, and throw away the key, bro. So, and I would be very wary of a law enforcement officer telling you something like that, just because it's not going to hold up in a court of law at all. Your local sheriff can tell you whatever he wants, and
you would go to jail, but you might be able to sue him after.
No, man. General rule of thumb: do not take legal advice from cops because they will give you bad advice. It's just
and they're not responsible for it either. You are. You know, a cop
like
can tell you,
gaslighting.
"Oh yeah, you can do 80 on this road. I don't care," and then the next cop's still going to pull you over.
And guess what? They still get a credit for busting you. Like it's
and guess what?
Yeah, sure.
The next cop that pulls you over might just be a female cop, and then you're in real.
Just be
taser.
Man, that is not a taser. Please put that back. This is my wallet. This is my registration. This is not a gun. Yeah. Thank you for the $4.99 noob actual. Chuck McGill 69 for 5 says, going to be light on super chats for a while as I'm buying my first house soon. Well, congratulations. That is awesome, sir. That is infinitely more important than anything going on here right now. Zog makes those mortgage payments pricey. Nose emoji. Love the stream and more. And well, hey, congratulations on your first house, sir. Greatly appreciated and good luck in your future endeavors. It's awesome. Not a lot of people in my generation are buying houses right now, so if you can make it, awesome. SV89 for 2 says, free Mr. Bond. He didn't do anything wrong. Mr. Bond? Mr. Bond get arrested? I'm not sure what that's in reference to.
I'm not tracking. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're far too dumb for that here, sir. Actually, let me put this up on screen. Josh for 5 says, Jarvis, play the hit song Mr. Brightside every time the IAF makes an oopsie daisy. It would be playing a lot, but that is a good song. I used to have that as my alarm clock years and years ago. But I suppose that wraps up the SIG and the LNS section. I suppose we could talk about something that's, you know, somewhat important. Some might call World War III or whatnot. But yeah, Israel did they did send some hate towards Iran. They apparently had drones set up in country. They took out a lot of their top officials. They hit their nuclear, what was it? Their nuclear refinement plants, a lot of the big ones. They took out a lot of their ballistic missile sites, so they couldn't respond right away. So it was a pretty devastating hit on Iran. So it took them almost 24 hours to respond after they got their stuff together.
Yeah, it took out their top military guys.
Yeah, I'll pull up that article in just a second.
Right, so it looks like Iran's retaliation strikes have begun across Israel. There's red alerts all over.
Damn, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's bad.
There's been over 100 hypersonic missiles that were launched from Iran into Israel, and Tel Aviv has got blast sirens blaring all over the place, and Jerusalem as well. There's videos coming out all over the place of Israel's weapon defense systems intercepting Iranian missiles in the sky, and Tel Aviv has a lot of fires burning all over the place right now. There's been people filming the missile launches and the interceptions all over Tel Aviv and all over Israel as well. Apparently they fell on 7 areas in central Israel total.
Was that the pedo map? No, but Tel Aviv is the pedo capital of the world, though. So not exactly. It's a different map.
Well, I hate to defend them. I absolutely hate to defend them, but I don't think it's considered a crime in some of the other countries in that area.
Oh.
So,
well, yeah,
I mean, it's considered, it's sanctioned at 9 years old in some of these other countries. So,
Bruh,
it's not a
hammers.
crime. They don't
It's
report
not
it.
technically illegal.
They don't have breakfast. They break fast. That's good. Oh,
right, so it looks like Iran's retaliation has a lot of fires burning all over the place right now. There's been people filming the missile launches and the interceptions all over Tel Aviv and all over Israel as well. Apparently they fell on 7 areas in central Israel total. There's been a fire that broke out near the Ministry of Defense headquarters in Tel Aviv, apparently, according to Israeli Channel 13. Israel so far claiming to have intercepted 50 of those missiles. However, if there's over 100 that were launched, it's...
Bro, that shot right there, that reminds me of the Halo Reach campaign when you're flying around to the different spots in whatever that city is. And there's like red lights in the background and half the city is glass. That's what that reminds me of.
Over 100 that were launched. It's tough to see what kind of an impact that had, or what the actual battle damage assessment for this is going to be. According to Iran, they launched over 150 missiles.
Yeah, that one's bad.
But again, the numbers, it's tough to say. So this is a developing situation is happening. And
wait, somebody said that I'm nuked on YouTube. It still shows that I'm up on YouTube.
I was just watching. Hold on.
Why is
we're still up on
somebody
YouTube.
saying, am I still up? I think I think Randy has lost it. Randy said that we were nuked on YouTube. He's on Rumble saying we got nuked.
Maybe Randy got nuked on YouTube.
Yeah, maybe somebody thought Randy was a bot and just deleted him.
Yeah,
unfolding right now, so I'll keep you guys updated as I get more information. Right, so it looks like Iran's retaliation strikes have begun.
I do want to say one thing.
Go for it.
To everyone in chat, if you're not familiar with Kagan, this is Kagan Dunlap's channel. He does excellent work. He is on top of this, and of course it was his job for a while, and I think it might even still be. But he does excellent work, and he is one of the first to always get out almost always correct information. And anytime that he does have to make a correction, he makes sure that people see it. So if you're not following him, you're wrong. You should be.
Kagan Dunlap, that's the one. There was another guy that's been doing it. What's it? Agenda Free News, is it that guy? It's not that I'm not familiar with his source, but he's been doing just nonstop coverage of it, basically 24/7. Yeah, bro, he has 53,000 people watching him right now. That's wild.
Kagan does?
No. Agenda Free TV. I don't know this guy at all, but I just saw he was covering it yesterday. When it all popped off, he had like 110,000 people in chat. 109,000, some would say. But yeah, just absolutely wild. Okay, let me see here. Sorry, Bucky sent me some Dogman Defense.
Something.
Go for it.
I did see something on Instagram from Northern Provisions. They were saying that there was like 50 fighter jets, like Israeli fighter jets, over Iran. That was a couple hours ago, so I don't know if that was a false alarm or if that was an actual thing.
Well,
so only Israel has the ability to even put fighters in Iran's airspace, because the fighters that Iran don't have the range, I want to say.
Okay.
I don't because I think their range is like 1,400 kilometers, and then it's 1,600 kilometers between them. So they would have to set up in Iraq, which I don't think Iraq likes either of them.
No.
So I don't think Iran has the ability to send fighter jets into Israel's airspace, where Israel does have it in reverse. And I did see pictures floating around of quote unquote supposedly Israeli jets in Iranian airspace after they took out all of their air defense systems. So maybe not. I would take everything with a grain of salt, as of right now, as sad as it is for the people that are actually like the civilians that are actually dying on both sides, right? I think we can all agree that's a bad thing.
100%.
As far as like what's actually happening over there right now, it's sand people killing sand people, and exactly 0 Americans or American dollars should be sent over there for any reason. That's my take on it. Thank you for the $2, Mr. N. Alpha Lima India for $2 says they don't understand the things I say on Twitter. So, as a great poet once said. Thank you very much for the $2, Alpha. SV89 for 2 says rocket emoji, bang bang, skulls, and then some a specific star that refers to a ancient Israeli king. But thank you very much for the $2, SV89. Yeasty G says something, but I'm gonna not read that. $2. Gross again. Art Vandalay for $4.99 says white smoke rising in Tel Aviv. There's a new Epstein. Oh, that's good. That's good. They've decided a new Epstein.
You don't think they've already replaced that guy? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, he was replaced a decade ago. After one gets popular, then they got to remove him and move on to the next. You get too much heat coming on you. That's what she said. Thank you very much for the $4.99. Art Vandalay. G17 Enjoyer for $2 says, I'm not dying for Zog. Yeah, you think that until there's a draft going on, and then we're all draft dodgers. Also, I should mention on Rumble, Dogman Defense again for $2 says, or sorry, for $1 says Sig bombed Iran. Unconfirmed reports. We haven't seen the actual impact zones to confirm if there's any Sig P320 in the wreckage. Creek Shoe Operator for $4.99 says, I don't think Israel or Iran has a pedigree. They have a ped something, but not a pedigree, I don't think. But thank you very much for $4.99, sir. Zerg, Lindsey Graham. Yeah, dude, the one thing, if you do want to talk about it, is all of the politicians simultaneously coming out and being like, Israel has a right to defend itself after Israel quite obviously is the aggressor in this situation. I think there's a 7-minute statement by Mr. Netanyahu, the current prime minister of I don't know. Do you guys want to watch that? It's kind of.
Does he just call it a preventive strike, like a
preventative strike? Yeah, he's like they were about to nuke us, so we had to do it basically.
Yeah,
they said the same thing in like 2008 or 2009.
Yeah, just call it preemptive. You can do any offensive attack you want. Just call it preemptive in defense.
Yeah, I honestly don't want to hear anything Netanyahu has to say at the moment.
Yeah, I don't care to hear.
That's the classic tactic of running up, slapping someone in the back of the head, and saying, "Don't you dare hit me, or I'm going to really hurt you now." It's like,
wait,
okay.
are you saying that the Netanyahu cries out as it strikes you?
Yes, basically. That's exactly what I'm saying, John. Good point.
RC says Iran just launched more missiles. Well, that means what do we have? 10 minutes till impact?
Something
right?
like
Because
that.
I think that it's like 1,000 miles in between the two countries. So
I think
we
somebody
got a
said
couple minutes.
14 or 1,500 kilometers.
No, the platypus made in the USA? It's not low tiered import. The Romulus, the Alpha Foxtrot, that's the low tier one. The platypus it just has like a year lead time at this point. So I wouldn't spend $2,000 or whatever it happens to be to not get a gun for a year. Nope. What do you think this is? Aero precision?
Oh,
Old suppressor lead times.
Oh yeah, dude, that's rough, bro.
Also, future suppressor lead times. If the
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, but that's actual lead time, not paperwork time.
Yeah,
you might
that
actually need to wait
artificially
months.
inflated
Yeah.
paperwork time too.
Mhm.
Yep.
yep. We definitely can't make them ourselves in our garage.
Nope, not real. 80% kits are going to go hard.
Hard AF.
You guys have seen the Marines down in LA. They're now around the federal buildings and stuff down there. So I don't know if anything else is going to kick off there tonight. Were people speculating that it was going to get really wild tonight?
Yeah, I was. I'm speculating that it's going to get wild this weekend.
It's
not
Friday
tonight,
the
but
13th.
particularly tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, it is fitting that World War III would kick off on a Friday the 13th. I think that makes sense. I think that's good.
Yeah.
It just lines up. Guys, there are 556 concurrent viewers, so if you could all hit the like button, that would be awesome. Also, I just noticed that it's a great number, so thank you. Okay, let me see. So bring it back to this for a second. So who were the Iranian commanders killed in Israel's attack? There's going to be a lot of Mohammeds, okay? Mohammed Bagheri was the highest-ranking military officer in Iran, being the chief of staff of Iran's armed forces. Damn.
That's wild.
That's also includes the Islamic Revolutionary Guard as well as the Iranian army. That's huge. He was the top dude.
That's wild. That's wild. Hossein Salami was the commander-in-chief of the IRGC, the Iranian. Wow. Gholami Rashid was the head of IRGC's Qatam al-Anbiya central headquarters, which coordinates joint Iranian military operations. Wow, so they top down. Commander, what's this guy? Amir Ali Hajizadeh, the commander of the IRGC's aerospace force. Damn. In
Why
charge
do
of the country's missile program.
All these old Iranian dudes look like Sean Connery. What's that about?
So they got that old leathery look to them. Well, actually, you know what it is? I think it's a combination of lifestyle where it's just drinking and smoking since you were like 15 years old.
Really hard's a man.
They supposedly don't drink.
Oh, that's true. But they do smoke since then. They're like 12 years old or something.
It's a combination of the smoking and the goats is what it is. The goats really take time off your life.
Nuclear scientist and the head of Iran's atomic energy organization.
This was the very important dude. The head of their energy department, nuclear energy department. Supposedly.
Well, so yeah, it looks like they got a number of. So it looks like I got 4 or 5 of their top scientists for their nuclear program. Wild.
Hey, John, go back down. One of those names, I really want to hear you pronounce it. It's number 3 down.
Ahmad Reza Zolfagari. Something in there. There's a funny word in there, but thank you for that, Jake. Let's see. So, here we go. Yeah, so we can actually watch this happen.
Oh, that was the dude who was responsible for taking down the Ukrainian airline flight that killed 170 some people.
Was it?
Yeah. Flip back. It actually stated that right there at the end of the. Go up.
This guy? Oh, okay. So it was this guy.
Yeah.
So the commander, Amir Ali Hajizadeh, the commander of the IRGC's aerospace force, prominent figure in charge of the country's missile program. So actually, I mean, since missiles are really their only option against Israel. Like literally, their only option is missiles because there's no way they can get a land force. They don't have the range on their fighter plane, so it's only missiles or espionage operations, or like long range drones and stuff like that. Because I know they launched a bunch of drones.
Do they not have like an aerial refueling capability?
No, Iran does not.
I would imagine they don't. No.
That's why I saw that in an article somewhere else that they don't have a refueling way to do it, and they'd have to go into obviously Iraq's airspace to do that. So it's not really feasible for them to even attack Israel with fighter jets. So it's literally just missiles. Now they did spin up a bunch of their MiG-29s or something like that, but that was only to defend their own airspace from Israeli fighter jets. I think that was really the only reason to have them in the air at all, other than maybe they just didn't want them getting hit on the ground. Could be possible.
Yeah, that could be too. I did see that one of their airports was supposedly hit after the strikes in Israel. So,
Oof, size large.
But yeah, there was also, Randy pointed out, talk about the guy that survived the India commercial plane crash. Did you guys watch that footage?
I did not, but he's the only survivor of like 250, right? 250 people?
242 people aboard, one survivor, and it crashed into a residential district. And it's terrifying because it's like the last moments of all these people's lives, basically. And the plane is angled up. I imagine they're doing whatever they can do to try and keep it in the air. I don't know if they lost power. People have speculated that the flaps were in the wrong position. So it could be like a sensor issue or where the hydraulics failed on the new Boeing 787. So it locked the flaps in the wrong position. And so even that they couldn't get the plane in the air or keep the plane in the air, basically. And so
it just fell out in slow motion. It was painful to watch.
Damn, where did it fall at?
Into a residential neighborhood. The town was I can't remember now.
Was this in the U.S. or was this somewhere else?
No, this was a Indian Airlines. It was a Boeing 787 though, which is important because it's another Boeing plane that goes down.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, I gotcha.
Keep up, buddy.
Yeah,
brothers, I'm trying.
I think the guy was just trying to hit the numbers, like a good little pilot, and he just kind of undershot. I have no evidence for this.
Probably.
Who knows?
Oh, I thought you were talking about hitting different numbers, like different pilots. Never mind.
No.
711, not 911.
I'm trying to find the actual video of that. So images appear to show the flaps in the incorrect position for takeoff. This could lead to inadequate thrust and lift because you can tell that the angle of attack on it looks right. Like they're trying to pick it up and out of it. But I'm trying to find the actual. Is this it? Oh yeah, this is terrifying. This is terrifying.
I am not a pilot, but I heard one say that the Boeing, specifically this plane, needs at least a 15% incline and 85% thrust on the throttle, and it will maintain its altitude and climb. And this did not have that.
Damn.
Lost Arrow asks, what am I doing at the gym today, folks? And I think Lost Arrow is doing squats. Absolutely. It's squat day.
Yeah, Friday.
That's what I'm doing tonight, so.
Hell yeah. Oof. Damn.
And I mean, you can tell that they just took off. They're angled correctly. They're trying to take off, but apparently the flaps were locked in the wrong position, whether that was pilot error, Boeing error, or whatever it happened to be. But yeah, crashed right into this huge residential area. Somehow, one survivor of the plane.
Jeez.
Exactly one.
Do you know what condition he's in? Like, is he all fucked up or is he all right?
Yeah, and it crashed into a hospital. That's right, because there were like students there or something, and it crashed the fuselage went through. So there's many more casualties than just were in the plane itself.
Is there a number on that
situation?
Was it like in the like 200 or around 200.
Well, 242 people aboard the plane, so 241
my.
deaths from the plane. Everybody but one, and then
like another 40 were injured.
Yeah.
I've seen that, but I don't know
Yeah,
how many
'cause
were
it-
killed.
I've not seen the full numbers yet, and I imagine it's going to take a day or two for that fully to come out because that's rough.
Yeah, this is.
And I
I
think
personally
people in
think
the
this is
chat were
worse
saying,
than
and
the
I think
war.
I heard this
Here
earlier.
we go.
I heard this earlier, and I think people in the chat were saying it. The guy who did not die in the plane crash he walked away from it. He was able to walk.
Yeah,
No
that's what Randy.
way.
That's what Randy was saying. He said that the guy was just out walking around. It was wild.
What seat was he in? I want to know.
Just for future reference, what exactly?
Yeah, for future
seat was he
reference.
in?
He was probably
That's
in the
wild.
bathroom. He just opened up the door and saw everything on fire.
Oh. Got more of the missiles coming into Israel, getting hit by the Iron Dome.
That's what. Well, here we'll turn on the audio here so people can listen.
Now could be interceptions. I'm not seeing anything on the. Oh, I see some stuff on the other Tel Aviv camera. I'm gonna have to replay that. I don't see it right now. I'm gonna replay. Remind me to replay the other Tel Aviv camera. There's two Tel Aviv.
Replay
cameras.
the other Tel Aviv camera.
This has the better
Sir,
view.
there's been another Tel Aviv camera.
Well, I have both cameras up.
Oh, I was just telling him because he told me to remind him, so I was reminding him.
Of interceptors. Oh, now I'm seeing something. There was something on the Bethlehem camera too. There's just too much going on. Maybe an interception on the Bethlehem camera. There's still some alerts. An alert in Jerusalem area. Let me keep an eye out on these cameras, see if I see anything else.
Let me see here. Son of Mandalore for 2 says, "Let the sand, N words, not sure which word, but sand N words, fight, not our problem." I am inclined to agree, good sir. Thank you for the $2, Son of Mandalore. SV9 for 5 says the star, referencing a ancient Israeli king, says cries out in pain as he airstrikes women and children. Yeah, I think there's currently one church left standing in Gaza at the moment. Kind of rough.
Oof.
Thank you very much for the $5, sir. Steven Shreds for $1.99 says, "I thought India was in 2020 now." Well, when did the Boeing crashes start? Maybe they're back in 2020. Thank you, Steven Shreds, for the $1.99. Taprack Stovepipe for $4.99 says, "I'm a little behind live, but we should call them loathe and shill." That's good. Also, as usual, this is your friendly reminder that Sig sucks. I think Sig is going to try and buy back some of the community support by bringing out 2011s and a new 516 variant, which actually, funnily enough, they're probably selling the new 516 to India, because I think India is one of the few places currently using their 716 as their main rifle. So I think the 516 is going to be marketed to a lot of places.
I've seen they're trying to push the cross on the boomers who watch Meat Eaters. I've seen them do a bit about the Sig cross while one of the main employees was wearing a Sig hoodie. It's like, dude, just give it up.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to give us a lot of content next week. Whatever they decide to bring out, or whatever they say about the P320, it's going to be very funny next week. Eddie Cody for $2 says, "Airline pilot instructor, any legit questions?" Yeah, actually, I don't know if you're really an airline pilot instructor, if you want to come on and talk about it, I'd be happy to actually just bring you on. Yeah, especially if you know what's kind of going on, what it might have been, what the pilots were supposed to do, what actually happened, what the flaps position was supposed to be. I'd be happy to have you on and actually talk about it right now while we're just kind of chilling. So thank you for the $2, Andy. And I see you in the chat. If you want to hop on, send me an email address or something, and I'll send you a link.
If you're in Discord, you can also DM either one of us, and I'll get you the link over as well.
Dr. Fuzzy One for $9.99 says, "Rare Breed ships FRTs to states where FRTs are illegal, like Florida, Minnesota. I live in one of those too. Bought one, but returned it unopened as I was too sketched out. Is Rare Breed baiting felonies or ignoring laws?
Well, I can speak on that a little bit as far as the Florida situation. Rare Breed was fighting Big Daddy Unlimited, who was making the wide open trigger. They were making and selling those right here in Florida. And according to Florida law, now I am no lawyer. I will restate this again. I am not a lawyer. I still have my soul, a little bit of it. The FRTs, as laid out and defined by law, are not prohibited. What is prohibited is things like binary triggers and bump stocks. Those are specifically outlined by a law that was passed in, I want to say, 2018 or early 2019. I want to say it was late 2018 was when the law was passed. The FRTs come out after that law was passed and were still actively being sold because of the fact that they claimed that they did not meet the definition of binary triggers. So do with that information what you will. Is RB baiting felonies, though? I'd say probably. They're working with the DOJ, so I wouldn't put it past them to say, oh, hey, by the way, these people in this state bought these products from us.
New tech equals unregulated. I mean, that's interesting that it kind of gets around the law in Florida because it's just not specifically mentioned, which, I mean, that's what people did in California for years. You used to have the bullet button. Now you have all these other workarounds on your ARs to make them like nondescript, or you had like the thumb hole stocks, or you can go to Reno May's channel and just look over the last like 10 years of content to see how laws have changed. Every time there's a new bit of tech or a new quote unquote workaround, then they update the laws like within a year or two to get rid of that, basically. So for a little while, it might be unregulated until they update it. Because Florida, while it's crazy and kind of looked at as a red bastion, it's not as free as you would think it would be.
It is not.
They do have a lot of interesting, like semi-restrictive firearms laws. They have a 3-day waiting period, which isn't like anything insane when it comes to regulations, but a lot of states it's 72 hours from the day that from the moment that the sale was agreed upon, which is like a lot of states do it that way. Florida's, though, specifically is 3 days after the sale itself is finalized. Which is a very odd little thing that Florida does differently than a lot of other states.
Yeah, we also can't have a lot of the fun stuff like Dragon's Breath. Supposedly, we're not allowed to have specific types of ammo in our AR pistols because it's considered armor-piercing pistol ammunition, which
okay, interesting.
There is a bunch of laws that are just, they make no sense whatsoever, but they exist, so I have to follow them until I move, and then I am under a whole new set of freedoms. It's going to be grand.
Free man.
It will be wonderful. One of the first things I'm going to do is get a binary trigger.
Nice. What you going to put it in?
Everything.
I don't know. Actually, I don't know why you would get a binary. If you're going to move to someplace that doesn't care, you should just get a super safety. That would be my recommendation. It's going to be cheaper and actually do the thing you want it to do.
I have a guy who's got a binary trigger who he's just going to give it to me once I move.
Oh, well, if it's free, it's free.
Yeah, he's just going to send it to me. So
can't argue with that. That's good.
Yeah.
Do the homies like super safeties or FRTs more? What's the consensus right now?
The FRTs are better. Like mine is nearly perfect, but it's also 4x the cost minimum, basically.
Okay,
so
fair.
It really depends what you want. If you want like just some fun every now and again, I'm sure a super safety is fine. But if you want something that actually runs and is going to run for a really long time, an FRT, the 3-position FRT is the one to use, in my opinion.
Now I've completely confused myself, and everything's messed up.
Just awesome. Like us. Just like us.
Yep, same here, brother.
Maybe it's a missile. Maybe it's an interceptor. Maybe it's a plane. I don't know.
I'm kind of retarded.
As we
Very true.
as we all know, missiles are less dangerous than planes because planes can melt steel beams and missiles cannot.
That's actually true.
My
That's a good
dank
point.
memes will melt steel beams.
We're just waiting now for the missiles.
Wow, this is fun. We're all just waiting for missiles to strike
Yeah,
Tel Aviv
it's
for
like-
entertainment on a Friday night. All right.
It's
Well,
like
we
the
do
kid from
have.
Incredibles waiting for Mr. Incredible to do something. Well, what are you waiting for?
It's-
I don't know, something.
Something
It's the
amazing,
poking.
I guess. Yeah.
It's the poking Israel with a stick meme.
Come on,
do
do
Yeah,
something.
come on. Do the Iron Dome.
Do the thing.
Do the thing.
Dude, shoot iron on my dome till I intercept.
Oh, God.
Hell yeah. Be our greatest ally or something.
keep
Dogman
waiting.
Defense for $1 says Tel Aviv Pride Parade was canceled. God is good, indeed.
I keep waiting for somebody to, like some of our stream people, to pop up in the live stream chats on these streams that we're watching and start
Oh,
doing
yeah.
end towers.
Well, bro, there's 62,000 people watching this stream that we are watching right now, so we are gonna get drowned out in there.
And
Yeah.
tower any percentage, difficulty
Yeah.
impossible.
That
So
is
do we have
true.
to do it live on stream? Can we do it? Oh, it's subscribers only mode. You have to pay. You have to
Ew.
pay. Although to be fair, that makes sense because if you
Yeah.
have 60,000 people in your chat, you gotta limit it somehow.
Is it
So
subscriber
literally-
only mode or is it member
Oh,
only
sorry.
mode? I
It
think
is
you can just hit
subscriber only.
subscribe.
So if I hit subscribe, that's cheating, bro.
That's how they
Making
farm
me-
subscribers right there.
Unbelievable. Refresh. Let me type. I have something to say.
Hey, can we do that?
Oh, it probably is 20 minutes or longer. You have to
20
wait 20
minutes.
minutes. Unbelievable. Well, I subscribed, so we'll check back at 1:45.
But I don't know if that's the case.
Gabriel Baker for $4.99 says, I'm sure everyone here is on the same page, but do not join the military and actively discourage any young men in your lives from considering it not our war. Yeah, I don't obviously, I mean, we have lots of people in the Discord and even some on the stream who may or may not have been in the military, but joining now, I don't think there is a legit purpose to do so. I don't see any real benefit or any real moral war that you could be fighting right now, and moral wars for the most part are defensive wars, and I don't think that's really going to be happening anytime soon. So I would strongly recommend against that career path, as you will be almost certainly used at the behest of evil people. That's my opinion.
If you do, just be smart about it and do something in logistics or non-combat arms, and you'll be fine.
Well, my
Just be
point would
smart.
be that you're still going to end up, even if you're not non-combative or whatever it might be, you're still going to be used at the behest of people who don't have your best interest at heart.
I mean, yeah, there's always that,
Mhm.
and I guess
Yeah.
that's a valid point.
Whatever
to
you
make.
do, don't be a pogue if you're going to join the military.
No, man, pogues are fine. We need them.
Facebook is live.
Yeah.
Facebook is
Don't lie
Says
to
the
yourself about
pogue.
being combat
Just
arms.
kidding.
Break faded for 99 says 790.222. The term bump fire stock means a conversion kit, a tool, an accessory, or a device used to alter the rate of fire of a firearm to mimic automatic weapon fire. It means any device. Now, what the counter argument would do is that this doesn't mimic full auto fire. It's still semi-auto fire. So this doesn't mimic full auto fire like a sear would. This is still semi-auto fire. That's just maximum speed. But thank you very much for the 99 break faded. Now, to be clear, I would not want to be the guy that has to test that out in court to see if that holds up or not, right? That would not be my thing. Yeah, I would try to not do that.
We just do a little bit of playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were sold everywhere at gun shows for the longest time around here for like $399, but you could get a cash discount for like $350. You know, them people were pocketing that money.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, it
They got
was
them. Some
ridiculous.
gun shows near me do the same thing. I'll see advertisements for FRTs $400.
Is this something?
Yeah.
ET for 499 says, "Do you think it would be bad if Iran nuked the Holy Land in the biblical sense?" Loss of life is bad, but how about the Temple Mount? Well, I don't foresee that could, like, from the Christian perspective, right? If it's all very complicated, right? Because there are people who believe that Israel, as in the state of Israel, founded in 1948, is God's chosen people, right? That's sort of the dispensationalist thing that happened in the late 1800s, early 1900s. People were trying to push for. There was like this British Israeli push for a Jewish state in Israel, right? And so there are people that believe that that is God's chosen people, and that that is all the references in Daniel, in Revelations, and whatnot, is actually about the modern state of Israel. And if you subscribe to that, then you have nothing to worry about, because it's very specific at what will and won't happen to that people in that time. So if you're of the mind that this is like some end times prophecy in the Bible, then you have very little to worry about, right? Because it's like everybody's going to go up against Israel and they're all going to get slaughtered. That's what a lot of people think. That is not the historical church interpretation of Revelation, or most of the other interpretations. And then you have the side that says, well, maybe the state of Israel is not exactly the same thing as the Israel of antiquity, right? Maybe they're not even the same people. So I think it's a very complex question, depending on who you talk to, what your eschatology is, and yeah.
How dare
Now,
you, John?
if you're not a
Just
Christian,
kidding.
what go for it, Jake.
No, yeah.
Lay it out.
I believe what you're describing is partial preterism. So the idea that a lot of those prophecies that commonly in American evangelical circles are attributed to things to come. A lot of those prophecies are actually things that already happened, specifically around the time of like AD 70, when Rome destroyed the temple. But yeah,
Correct.
a lot of people do not hold that, and they believe that modern day Israel is the same as ancient Israel, and that we're basically, yeah, that's not a future I want to live in. I don't know about you.
Right. Yeah, so that really only took hold again in the last 120, 130 years, that idea. And that was promulgated by people like the Rothschilds, and people really invested in pushing out the Schofield Bible, stuff like that. If you can look in the people behind that. But for the vast majority of church history, that has not been the interpretation of what's going to happen. So yeah. And that's just Christians arguing about our eschatology, not and if you're an atheist, you're like, what are you guys even talking about? It's just, don't worry about it, bro. But if you want to know why so many boomers are so pro-Israel, that's why. The Schofield Bible and its consequences need to be studied.
As far as
Very true,
prophecies
very true.
And war, has anyone followed the story of the red heifer?
Is that's a Judaic prophecy, correct?
Correct. That's what has to be the order of processes before they can break ground on the Temple Mount.
Right, because they want the third temple, right? That's their whole thing, right?
Correct. Without derailing too much, they've been trying to genetically modify cattle to produce a genetically pure red cow, so they can commence with the building, because it requires the sacrifice of a pure red heifer before they can break ground.
Interesting.
Genetic purity. We won't talk
You know
about
what? Honestly, Richard, I wish them well. Good luck. Hope it all works out for them.
Good luck doing your thing, homie. Absolute Moonman for 5 says, need some of that Iron Dome from a war criminal baddie. Well, lots of war criminals floating around, and I'm sure we're about to make some more. So thank you for the $5.
Yeah. From IDF Wuhan.
They don't all look like Gal Gadot, but some of them do.
Oh, really? Oh, dude, I saw another one of those things today where it's like, well, guess I support Israel because it's, one of their chicks in like their military or whatnot. It's like, all right. The psyops will continue until morale improves, I guess.
Yep.
No Home 726 for 1487. What a cool number. The Middle East is so hot right now. So hot. It's like an oven in there. Like an oven, you say. I bet their gas bill is super high over there too. Speaking of gas prices are about to go up, I imagine. Thank you for the 1487, sir.
I heard they
wonder
went
how
up
many-
by $12 a barrel about 2 or 3 hours ago.
They did. They already adjusted the price at one near me. It went up 10 cents or 11 cents a gallon.
For gas, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably going to go up further in the morning. But yeah, they were already out adjusting the signs.
Yep.
Log Dog for 189 says, I thought the modern house of Israel were Mormons. Well, see, Mormon is I wouldn't really even call them Christians. They're heretics, right? And they have the Pearl of Great Price, the Book of Abraham, and what's the other? Well, obviously the Book of Mormon. And I think there's one other text that they have that is just absolute nonsense. Now, not to mention that they're actually mentioned in Galatians, where it's like, hey, if anybody preaches a gospel, not this one, whether it's given to you by an angel, right? Because supposedly the angel Moroni gave the golden tablets to Mr. Joseph Mormon, or Mr. Joe, whatever his name was, Joseph Smith, sorry, to translate the tablets was an angel, right? So that's explicitly mentioned within the Bible that you should not trust those things. So
Yeah, we call
Also-
them. What do we call them? They're like American Muslims, or it's like American Islam.
it might as well be, yeah, for the most part, because listen, if you have to explain an 1800-year gap with just nonsense between your books of the Bible and then what was actually compiled by the early church that Jesus left here on earth, right? I mean, good luck. And then you also have to say, like, well, actually the Israelites left in wooden submarines to head to America, where the Garden of Eden was, and then there was a battle between the Native Americans and the real Israelites, which were white, and all but one of them died in this great battle that happened on a hill in New York City. Or an upstate
I want
New
to
York,
try
I
and
should say.
find a devout Mormon to debate one of the Black Hebrew Israelites, because I think
Yeah.
that would be
Just-
incredibly,
Just put
incredibly
them in a
entertaining.
room together and they can just both spout their nonsense at each other and we can just laugh. I think that would be a good time.
Just put a camera on it and watch. You
And
sit back
coherent
eat
ramblings on
popcorn.
both sides.
Yep.
Yeah, dum 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 dum. Taprack Stovepipe for 189 says, unironically, a theology major is Zionism is not Judaism.
Correct.
Of course, yeah, they are very different things, but usually they go. Well, I shouldn't say usually they go hand in hand, but Zionism is
They
is
don't
usually
end up.
something that's affected by a specific generation here in the U.S. is something that a lot of them hold to, Zionism, which is
Yeah.
creating the state of Zion in Israel, right? That's what they look for.
Yeah, I was going to say the two don't exist mutually exclusively in a vacuum. That's not how that works.
That's correct. There are a lot of Jews who are not Zionists, but there's a lot more non-Jews who are Zionists.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Zionism is an ideology like pushed into Western nations by Jews, right? Of course, he would want this positive propaganda, this messianic message that actually you need us for the end times, and we are incredibly important, and you must give us 85 billion or 500 billion, whatever the number of billions is every year for our defense, right? You must support us. We are your greatest ally. But thank you, Taprack Stove 5 for 199. Appreciate it, sir. Absolute Moonman says, people, quote unquote, believing that Jesus wants us to protect modern Israel is a great case for returning to not letting normies read the good book. Put that back in Greek and Latin. No cap, for real, it's not bussin'. Yeah, I mean, which was one of the original reasons that the Catholic Church and the Orthodox Church weren't really hot on the Bible being translated into so many different languages, is because they were afraid that people were going to start coming up with all of their own interpretations for things, and it was going to lead to essentially what you see now. So in a way, they were definitely correct. that now every non-denominational evangelical church in America has their own interpretation of scripture, where they essentially say something like, well, I guess if you're just like nice or something, you'll make it along, and that's what we're here for. And if you ask, I don't even know if they would debate each other, because at some point, a lot of these non-denoms will just say like, well, it doesn't even matter. And it said this, but that's only in a cultural context or historical context. So that's not even what it means anymore. And so essentially what you get is just people picking and choosing what they want to believe out of it. So it just makes the whole thing like calling, I don't know. It's like they obviously don't believe what the Bible says. So it's like they're Christians because it makes them feel good on the inside or something. That's about it. But thank you, Moon Man, for the $10. Appreciate it. Tap Rack Soap Pipe. Shut up. Juice. Our juice. Well, but that wasn't what he was saying, SV89. SV89 has a tendency to go a little aggro at times, just a little bit. But watch your blood pressure, good sir. Appreciate it. Are we ever going to see a missile strike? That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, dude.
There's a whole
Nothing
bunch
ever
of
happens,
footage.
John.
Why did they decide to launch missiles during the daytime? It doesn't look nearly as cool.
Yeah.
We can't see what's going on.
Well, we do have a whole bunch of footage that we can comb through if you would like to cover what we have posted. Oh, this is active in LA right now?
This is in LA right now, yeah. This is the Marines down there.
That's not
Oh,
the
did you
Marines.
see
That's
that some guy
protesters.
apparently...
Well, Asian Massage Review says, Focus Trip, some of the non-doms just hate all the infighting. Well, the infighting is there for a reason, and it's not infighting per se. It's in pursuit of the truth, right? But a lot of non-denoms, my problem is a lot of them will tell you, well, it doesn't really matter that much. And it's like, well, if you're going to tell me the truth doesn't matter. Yeah, it's like... I don't know that, but yeah, thank you very much, Asian Massage Reviews. Last one for right now, Takamo 21 for 5 says, if I join and get passive aiming for NVG use as standard, I can tell Pranka to shut up. You can tell him that, but it's just not going to go very well. Just not going to go very well.
He'll probably call you a slur.
Undeniably, he will call you a slur while mildly toasted on an Instagram live stream. Creek Shoe Operator for 499 says, I rate this stream 9/11. 9 out of 11. Thanks for giving us this good content focus. I mean, this is a Friday night stream, so it's pretty lax, as you can tell. Pretty lax. But thank you very much for the 499 Creek Shoe. Appreciate it, sir.
World War III kicking off. We sleep. T-Rex arms being disemboweled and Lucas leaving. Hold on, boys. This is some serious shit.
Yeah.
It is funny that we had 1,700 people watching us go over the fall of T-Rex arms, and then we've got World War III kicking off, and we've got 550 people.
Hell yeah!
It is wild how it works out.
I did want to put this out there. It's a little bit of a
You're so
self-plug.
mean, Taprack. My Zionist point was very well understood by you. Thank you. Genuinely, too many idiots like SV89 that don't get it. No, I get that you're trying to distinguish between the two, right? But SV89, he's just a little aggressive. Okay, that's all. He means very well. He means very well. He's just a little aggressive at times. And our Discord is a refuge for spurging assholes. I don't think there's a better way to put that.
Yeah, very much so.
Love
but...
the guy in that live stream. The guy in that live stream behind you is spamming Justine in chat.
Oh, is he really? Damn.
Yeah. On the screen,
hey, Steve, come over here, bro.
Good job, Steve.
Oh, that's good.
That is hilarious.
Live Tel Aviv cam, still nothing yet.
Well, we do have our own Tel Aviv cam that SV89 has graciously put together for us in Discord if we would like to go over and check that out.
I'm not going to look at that. He just posted one where it's our favorite song, our White Boy Summer song, while somebody's watching missiles go by and he's blasting that song. That's quite funny.
Awesome.
Oh no. God.
Yeah, that's bad. I don't know. Actually, no, I can't show that. I'm not showing that on. I thought about it for a second and thought better. That's not going to happen.
No, but we can show the other things.
But we can. Most of it's just generic things. Hey, it's just
Yeah, the
explosions and bombs going off. Actually, I have most of them on my computer downloaded already, so I guess I could just throw them on screen here.
a couple
Now,
of
these
them I
are
thought were significant because they were the Iron Dome defense missiles that missed, and then
so
yeah,
the
that was
one
one right
tries to
there.
intercept this missile, misses, and does a sharp curve to try and get back to it, but doesn't actually accomplish its job. So I suppose Iran is targeting the sites that are launching these counter missiles. I
Probably, yeah.
suppose what that was, because you see the one impact right as another one takes off.
That would make sense.
It could have been a couple of things. It could have been the actual booster itself breaking off from the
payload?
charge, yes, but it could have also
No,
been.
that's a missile strike, bro.
Well, no, I meant the secondary part that comes out right here.
That curves and changes angle and accelerates? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it does go pretty straight. The one I seen earlier, it looked like it broke off from the payload.
It looked like some of them I saw too, where it hit the missile, but the missile still just fell straight down into the street.
Yeah, it split the missile in half.
Well, that's the thing too, is even if you knock one out of the sky, it still ends up somewhere, right? So you're still getting debris everywhere.
Imagine how
wonder what the
devastating this
percentage
would
is.
actually be. Oh, go ahead, Bones.
I was just going to say, I wonder what the percentage is of missiles fired versus missiles that hit a valid target or missiles that still landed with some sort of effect.
The
Because I
success
remember,
failure rate.
yeah, because I remember a while back some attack happened, and it was like a 90% successfully defended rate. It was really high, and I wonder if
Well,
it's the same with this or if it's any different.
And then they made the
Iran
claim they were
said,
like
so
they made the
Go ahead.
claim they said the only missile that got through actually killed a Palestinian. That was the Israeli government code.
That's hilarious.
that is actually funny.
We let that one through on purpose.
There's
What was
already
I
been
gonna say?
reports
So
of
allegedly they sent like 100 to 150 missiles in their first strike, and the IDF said that they blocked 50 of them. So I don't know if it's lower percentage today, because there have obviously been a number of impacts.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I'm just curious to see how effective it is at this point.
I mean, that's pretty. That's like the best footage I've seen of it. Straight on impact.
Yeah.
Where it mushrooms out from the side there.
Not today, ISIS. Not today.
The world's most expensive light show.
brought
Yeah,
to
and then
you
you
by the
just
US
get
taxpayers.
a shotgun spray of rocket debris falling on you after that.
Yeah, well, we're gonna see some street views of stuff going off, and it is ugly.
Oh my God. She looked.
And I believe that was just a different angle of that hit that we saw earlier.
Yeah.
That was a double.
That was a double. So I don't know if it's just, maybe it is different, but it looks similar. The sequence is similar. A hit and then a restrike.
I don't think those ones were missiles. I think those are actually ODSTs.
Oh my God. She looked.
I would almost say it's like whatever the Iron Dome system is, tracking the missile down, and then the missile entity is, it obviously detonates, so it reverses back up into the sky to not cause more damage. But that's a kind of a stretch at this point.
No, I think they're trying to hit the launch systems. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's impact
That's one
for sure. Impact number 2 for sure. And then you
then
can
a
see the
third
launch
one.
zone is actually over here.
Yeah.
So they impact over here. Not sure what the intended target was, but they hit here and then they launch from right there, basically.
Yep.
Now, this is why the IDF doesn't want you to repost this footage, is because now they can triangulate essentially
they can adjust
where they're
their
they're
fires.
actually taking off from, right? Because you can actually see them.
Yeah, and now this also kind of messes up their whole narrative, because the whole narrative with Gaza has been like, oh, they're setting up military installations inside hospitals and in apartment buildings. It looks to me like the IDF has Iron Dome installations in residential areas.
Well, correct. They have one set up
I-
to guard the hospitals and schools, and there may
Yeah,
or
but-
may not be a military installation nearby conveniently.
Well, I don't know how it works because I don't know how the Iron Dome is set up, but I would imagine they would need these batteries pretty evenly spaced out. So you couldn't have them in just like one spot. It wouldn't be effective. You would need them
you need them
pretty
spaced.
evenly spaced out so that they can accurately intercept missiles coming from different vectors. I would imagine.
Well, they're more highly concentrated around civilian zones, and specifically civilian zones that have military installations.
And it makes sense. Like, I mean, just from a strategic, standpoint, where am I going to put my air defense systems in the places that are really important to me? And I mean, that's
correct.
going to be civilian, military bases, and then key infrastructure. Which
Now,
sucks.
How
because-
devastating
go ahead.
would it actually be if somehow they were able to hack into the Iron Dome air defense system and essentially put in a return to sender malware code?
Where they would? What do you mean by that? Like,
Whenever one would launch, it would just essentially launch straight up and flip right back down and come right back down and detonate where
That
it
could
fell from.
be that
That would
could
suck.
be
Yeah, that'd be rough.
devastating. I don't think the Iron Dome missiles have a huge payload on them.
But it would be just enough to set off the others.
Or the concept would be, right, you're self-sabotaging, so you're essentially, I use the stone to destroy the stones, like you're using the Iron Dome to decommission itself, which I get where you're coming from. That would definitely, be devastating if it worked properly, or if they could, in theory, just get the missiles to detonate in the tube, some sort of electronic warfare-style sabotage. I mean, I don't know. I'm not an electronic warfare guy. I don't know what that would take, but that
I'm
would
not
definitely
either.
suck.
Yeah, you know what else they could do? Iran could just airdrop a bunch of coins into the ocean, and I think that would cause a lot of issues.
That's insane, Jake. Oh my God.
That is actually a hate crime. Is apparently a thing that the ADL has. It is when you glue a penny to the floor. It is actually a hate crime. It is a
That's
well-known thing that people have done. Anyways,
What?
back to the pretty lights. The pretty lights are happening again.
Hold on, we can't just skip past that.
No, it's a thing. It's a legit hate crime. You can look it up. It is.
I
it is a
am
legit
going
thing
to.
The ADL has listed.
That's hilarious.
Now those look incredibly successful. I don't know what they're targeting, but apparently nothing is intercepting those at all.
Yeah, that's yep. I would say so. I mean, it could be that. I mean, I was going to say it could be.
Actually, I lied. There was an interception, and you can actually see some interceptions higher up in the atmosphere too.
I don't know how these weapon systems work, but it could be that one was carrying a payload that launched all of these others from it. I don't know why they'd really have a propellant to them, unless it's specifically to maximize your success rate from a single missile passing through. Because usually when you have like a cluster payload like that, it just opens up and drops all the munitions everywhere. So I don't know how advanced Iran's getting with it, but yeah, those look like they're pretty successful.
They are also
correct me
using
if I'm wrong.
drones. I know they're using drones as
they
well.
are launching from drones as well. Correct me if I'm wrong though. Iran has most of its missile tech from Russia and China, right?
I believe so, yes.
So whatever they have is just like whatever Russia and China had like 10 years ago, because they're essentially selling off their old stuff. So
that makes sense. I mean,
also, those
a
missiles,
lot of them were
those
shit drones.
Those missiles do seem like they're landing outside of the city, and I know that they will let them go if they're not going to hit anything. They don't waste the Iron Dome munitions on those if they're not going to hit anything sensitive.
This one here I put in the intro because this is like I don't know if this is actually a Fox News crew, but after the missiles start landing, they're like, actually, we're getting off the roof now.
Yeah, they're like, let's get the fuck out of here.
Okay, there's just a massive amount of fire coming to Tel Aviv right now. You need to get ready to pull it off the stick. Get off the sticks. All right, let's go. Time to go. Okay.
Yeah, so we see the same thing. They are actively targeting the Iron Dome sites for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that makes sense.
Everyone move. Everyone move now.
Yeah, it's like, all right, guys, we are getting out of here.
Yeah, to be fair, these live streams could be like, they're all open source, so Iran could easily use them to be like, all right, we just launched this missile, it's going to land in this area, and then they see where it lands and they go, okay, here's where the Iron Dome is, launching off after, we're going to adjust it and then send another one. So I guess that makes sense why Israel's like, hey, no internet right now, okay, guys?
Isn't that basically the
do
same
not.
way that they call in mortar fire?
What do you mean? Like adjusting the fire? I mean, yeah, essentially, if you're gonna do, without getting super nerdy about it, if you're gonna do artillery or mortars, the gun usually doesn't see where they're shooting. It's some sort of observer, which can be a drone, a camera, or an actual person. And then the round's impact and that entity is going to relay data back to the guns for them to refine their data.
So they could theoretically take the thousands of different videos that they have here, triangulate the position, and adjust their rate of fire and position.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're probably gonna do that, or they're working on it now. But yeah, they're gonna look at, well, you know, what do they know about their targets? They're gonna work up where those targets are, and then they're gonna say, okay, what camera angles do we have of our impacts that weren't intercepted, and then refine data. And any of those launches that people got on camera of the Iron Dome will be super valuable to Iran as well, because I'm sure that it's not open source where they are and what they're camouflaged by. So they're going to say, oh, okay, cool. You know, this is where we need to look at. This is, you know, how we refine our data, and then just use, you know, like Google Maps or some sort of overlay that's satellite, and just go, okay, what's in that area, and just terrain associate and refine data from there.
Mm. Let me get through these real fast. Logan sucks at shooting for $10 says, just got back from the range. What did I miss, bro? World War III kicked off while you were at the range trying to suck less at shooting. But thank you very much for the $10, sir, and I hope your range session went very well. Thank you very much, Logan. Hope you're doing well. Actually, if you're in the back, you can probably hop on. Hang out.
This is the third time that World War III has started within the last couple months.
Hold on. Wait, is that real? Randy?
Which one?
Send me the link, Randy.
No. Caitlin was there kissing the wall today, and somebody had a really funny response because she said, it said whatever you want to say. It said like, my heart is in Israel, and then somebody responded, yeah, but where's your penis?
Oh,
nice, that's awesome.
Yeah, I knew that she was there. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Big goof.
So the order for $4.99 says, unfortunately, there will be a point and time that will make people will make AI, their God, really going to be hard to tell what is real or not soon. Stay vigilant. Yeah, AI is absolutely terrifying, and it's nuts today.
I think that time is already here. Nuts. There's already stories coming out of young boys who end up stealing a credit card from their parents, sign up for one of these AI girlfriends. Parents find out about it, cut the credit card off, and then they lose their AI girlfriend and they end up taking their own life. It's extremely sad, but it's already happening.
Damn.
Oh, GB Guns was out with Alabama Arsenal today. That sounds like fun. Hope you guys got to shoot some fun stuff. He has an insane collection of firearms. But yeah, AI, very scary, and it's already here. And it's worse than you think it is. Bulge Deep in Vagina for 99 says, how'd you get that past the YouTube censors? The Jew cries out in pain as it strikes you. A very famous saying. Charles Chuck for 2 months says just dropping in to say hello. Hope night is good. Yeah, it's a chill Friday night. Not too much going on right now. Thank you, Charles. Hope you're having a good night.
Nothing at all.
Ian Kemp for $4.99 says shooting ICBMs out of apartment buildings is actually wild. Yeah, so somebody was saying in the chat that a lot of the Iron Dome is mobile, so they can just move it from place to place, which would make it harder to take out. So that's interesting. But thank you very much,
True.
Ian Kemp for the $4.99. Taprack Stovepipe for $4.99 says I was FCA for the Navy. The Aegis system, I use the Mark 41 and are able to easily intercept this type of rocket. Not sure why the Iron Dome wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, missile intercept is beyond my pay grade. I am not well versed in these systems whatsoever. But it looks super cool. I've seen you guys have seen the Navy tests where they'll do it at night or whatnot, and they turn on their whatever it is that intercepts the missile. It's just wild how many rounds they're firing so fast.
Oh yeah, the Sea Rams.
Sea Whiz, Sea Ram, Sea Whiz, whatever it is.
Yep.
Thank you, Taprack Stuff right for the $4.99, sir. Jail Ganas for $1.99 says Bones turn your mic down 10%, sir. I got him. I turned him down just a little. He was peaking just a little bit. Thank you very much
Kings.
for the $1.99, sir. Hugh Jazz for the $4.99 says juice gonna juice. Can we just pull funding and let the tards sort themselves out? I think people would care a lot less if we weren't so intimately tied up in the area, and have been for the last 3 decades, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Vintage is a valid point. He said couldn't be that they're allowing it. I kind of have the theory that they're allowing some of these missiles to hit inside the city so that they can kind of have a excuse to escalate further. That's just maybe
You mean that they could have possibly stopped a whole bunch of dudes wearing flip-flops that had fucking lawnmowers strapped to their backs and parachutes way back in October of it's almost like they could have stopped that.
Richard, you can't say that kind of stuff. No October 7th denying in the chat, please.
No, it happened. It absolutely happened. I'm saying that there's no way that they could have possibly ever stopped a couple hundred dudes in flip-flops with AKs and fancy lawnmowers.
Yeah, it's something to think about.
I know they need $500 billion a year to stop 70 IQ sand merchants. I think that's reasonable.
I think that we need to just take all of the government funding and hire all of them to build tunnels.
Ugh. Well, I hope you guys aren't hungry. That's your appetite. Man hands. That's all I'm going to say, okay? Man hands.
Did you see the quote underneath? Imagine that being the last face you see.
Makes sense. In Tel Aviv, makes sense. I'm sure little children have seen far worse than that as their last sight.
Ooh.
Let me see here. I still have more. Still. Yeah, see, I feel like a lot of these are like the same, are like different angles of the same thing. But we do have some. Oh, that's not good. We do have some street angles.
This one. This was
of the events. This one's rough. And then you can see all the windows and all the debris falling on top of these guys as they turn away to run. Rough. Yeah. So those projectiles, they got to go somewhere. Oh, that one there wasn't a good one. I don't know why you put that one in there. Okay.
A side note while we look at some of this too, with the Iron Dome sites being mobile, that also means that if they're in a location or if they're currently in a time period where they're rotating locations, it can create downtime in windows for strikes to come in. It also means that it's easier to identify where they've moved to because they obviously have to move them, and that's probably not a super easy system to move covertly. And then the other thing you'd have to consider is they have to have enough space to do successful launches. I don't know how vertical they can launch from. So they might just rotate through like 3 or 4 determined locations for each system. And all they need is just to figure out which one they're at to refine their data. So having them mobile helps, but it's other considerations too that like it doesn't just fix the problem either.
Yeah. Senior Spielbergo says we get
Nice.
global war before we get GTA 6. Yeah, World War 3 before GTA 6. You're welcome. Now this one here shows like the shockwave effect of one of these. This is from pretty close to one of the bigger impacts.
Oh wow, yeah.
Base boosted.
Yeah, we can literally see the shockwave and the smoke blow off of it. Yeah, rest in peace, your eardrums. Very cool, though.
No warning for headphone users. I see.
Yeah. Terrifyingly terrifying, but aesthetically pleasing. Yeah. Hear me out. 5 million tons of bacon grease, and this conflict is over. I don't know how that's going to work out, sir.
I
Hugh
promise
Jackson,
you,
29.
if you
Oh, no,
just
we
go
already got
over
that.
there and start cooking bacon, you would solve several problems in the world.
Yeah, your own life, for one.
Yeah. Oof.
Let me see here. Go to some of these. DM Louise for $2 says maybe Israel can let go of Dan Crenshaw's nuts now. I think they're going to squeeze even harder. I think that's how that's going to go. You know, you one glory hole in Tel Aviv away from a bad day.
Oof.
Magnus Hirschfield for $2 says, please, someone save my books. What type of books did you write, good sir? That's such a fun, especially that it's Chris Chan on the PFP. Wild. Magnus Hirschfield in chat. Thank you for the $2, sir. Tap Rack Stovepipe for $1.99 says, allowing blockable strikes is very false flaggish. You know, a lot of the biggest conflicts in history were started via false flags. It's something that's gone back for quite literally millennia. So, but thank you very much for the $1.89 Tap Rack Stovepipe. Charles Chuck for $2 says, who is ready for the protest tomorrow? Well, I think they're probably heating up over here in LA right now. We have the Marines outside the federal buildings. We have, I don't know how many they deployed down there, but I hope they're having a good time. For some reasons, it's always Marines fighting aliens in LA.
I think it was 700 Marines, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, right around there. Yep, I remember getting that some number too.
Now, do you guys remember Battlefield LA, I think it was, where there was like the alien invasion that happened in LA, and now we get the exact same thing. A housing crisis and a Battlefield LA.
That's awesome.
All in the same year. Thank you very much, Charles, for the $2.
It's kind of funny.
The
There's no
Marines to come in.
It's kind of funny. There's no like crowds of protesters there. It's almost like they really don't want to mess with the Marines.
I wonder what their ROE is. Their ROE is probably like don't do anything ever.
Yeah, for a little insight on it, like when some of my guys were at or were over in the Capitol when they had a bunch of guys mobilized there at the Capitol, the ROE was extremely restrictive, and they had, I think, like 10 or 15 rounds in their pocket, no magazine, and we're like, you are doing nothing. And
That's
some
rough.
dudes like, yeah, and I mean, like, I get it. I understand you don't, not necessarily some of these guys have the highest bar of competency, unfortunately, and you don't want it to be projected that, you're arming your dudes with a full combat loadout because they're going to smoke anybody that, possibly is a threat. But at the same time, it's like, brother, this is rough.
Yes. So with this in particular, I know at least the guard people were issued, or they were given 120 rounds of ammunition.
Yeah,
so it's a little different than 15 rounds of loose ammo in your pocket.
Yeah, they have no magazines.
With no magazines. That's wild.
Yep. So I
And
mean,
they're like,
so-
some corn-fed retard is going to start off a civil war by just shooting a protester, and they're like, nope, do not do it. Do not do it.
do not do it. Do not do it.
Do not shoot. Do not shoot.
Did you guys
I'm
ever
gonna
see
shoot.
Did you guys ever see the clip of one of the guys who I can't remember which company he worked for now, but at the time he was Marine, and he was part of the group who was called in after the Rodney King riots, and he talks about how they like mowed down a dude who ran a barricade. They just mowed him down with a saw, and the news had to report it that it was the National Guard that did it because supposedly the military wasn't present for that engagement. I'll have to find the clip. I think the guy was from somebody in the chat will recognize it.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I had a thing pulled up for Katrina afterwards when they had like neighborhood guards going around, and they like shot people that were trying to loot houses and whatnot.
So I have a wild one for you about Katrina. Not only were they shooting people that were looting, they were also going door to door and confiscating guns from people. And some of those guns were given to the police department, and they were instructed to use them as drop weapons after they murdered a couple of people who were unarmed. It's horrible. This is one of the few times where I will 100% agree with Carl Casarda, and he did an excellent piece on it. I was aware of the incident, but I wasn't aware that the guys basically got off with a slap on the wrist for organized, orchestrated crime.
For killing unarmed looters, but still
No, it wasn't. These dudes weren't looting. They were on a bridge, and the only reason why they got caught was because there was a news crew on the opposite bridge who caught it all on camera.
And they just weren't supposed to be there, or what?
Yeah,
why did they get shot?
Because
they were not abiding by the evacuation order and the curfews that were in place.
Yeah, if
They
you
were
don't believe
supposedly
Richard,
out.
if you don't believe Richard, go ahead and look it up on YouTube. It's called a PewDiePie Bridge Moment. You can find a video of it.
Speaking on like the ROE for service members like National Guard and stuff, it is a very fine line between like keeping your troops safe, but also you have to be liable that if you're going to give these guys mags of ammo, there's a lot of mentality in combat arms, specifically in infantry, that they're ready to engage threats, and if they have ammo, they want to use it. Not saying that I'm not trying to paint this picture that a lot of these guys are like, I want to kill, because that's not it. But you just have to remember who you're dealing with, the level of competency, and how it will look if an incident happens. And so I understand the fine line of like, you want to give dudes ammo and you want them to be able to actually like do things, but you don't want somebody to take it too far, because you do have a lot of relatively inexperienced National Guards members who could make mistakes. So I kind of see both sides of it.
No, I can definitely see why it would prevent something from getting kicked off, right?
Yeah. But you also fix that if you just have competent people in your formation too. So I mean.
Well, yeah, that's the harder one to do though.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't really get to pick and choose.
No.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
unfortunately, I don't want to dive down a rabbit hole of like the military is becoming soft, because I don't think that's really what the stream is about. But
no,
there's a lot of things that are really degrading the quality of troops that are coming in and being promoted. And I'm not trying to get on a soapbox right now and rant about it, but it's a thing.
correct. What I sent you here is the Shahid drone, and you can see there the truck, how they move them, and they are launchable from the trucks.
Okay, there you go. Cool.
Interesting.
That's the ones that Russia and Iran have been using mostly. Now they do
Is
have
this-
some rockets. Go ahead, Bones.
I was going to say, is this a rocket system that is offensive, or is this the Iron Dome?
No, this is the offensive Shahed drones from
So these are
Iran.
purchased. Well, these are purchased by from Russia, right? Russia's the guy who makes these.
Place of origin was Iran. I think Russia
Oh,
purchases
really?
them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, domestic production costs range from 10 to 50K. So apparently these are a lot cheaper than the Iron Dome munitions. Apparently those are like 180K a pop, and the drones they're shooting down are like 10K. So that's wild.
That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it's easier to make an offensive munition than a defensive one.
Yeah.
And they're equipping these, as you see it, it's got a 50-kilogram warhead, which, that's if my math is
200,
not too
like
far.
25 pounds, give or take.
No, I
right.
think it's
So
100.
Or 125. My bad. Sorry.
Sorry, yeah. So the nose section contains a warhead estimated to weigh about 66 to 110 pounds. So decent sized munition. Now, but these are not what we're seeing.
No, these
I was
are
gonna say, that would
the
be
night footage. Yeah,
the ones that
those
you
would be
see
very
where
small.
the intercepts that you see happening where you don't see the rocket trail. That's what these are.
Oh, sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. And that makes sense. They would do a dual attack with those because you hope that the Iron Dome prioritizes the little shit drones, which it probably doesn't, but it might, add more entities to track and
Well, no,
deconflict with.
the little drones are what they're hoping get through, because the dome is targeting the hotter
I
munitions
gotcha.
that are coming in, and these are just landing, in random installations.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I could see it. Yeah. I mean, because if they get a couple of those on one of the Iron Dome trucks, I mean, it can be really devastating. Like 60, 100-pound bomb isn't like anything. I mean, that's not small, but that's also not massive either. So
no, but these are the point being is that these are a cheap retaliatory measure, right? Because these have a range of like 2,500 kilometers, so they can reach Israel. Yeah. It's funny because it takes like 6 to 8 hours for them to actually reach Israel. So apparently a lot of them get shot. A lot of them get shot down en route, but it's something that they can just launch at will, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, that makes sense. It's attritional too, because you just have so many of them. They're so cheap.
Yeah, and you can deploy from mobile sites everywhere, so it'll be easier to block once they're inside of Israeli airspace rather than outside.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So one of the guys in chat recognized the gentleman that I was referring to earlier. SOE Skelly was the good gentleman who was telling the story about how he mowed down some dude in a I want to say it was in a Camaro or a Trans Am or something. He ran through the barricade, went up and turned around and went back to ram the guys, and they just lit him up.
That sounds like an authorized instance of lethal force there. If you're going to use a car as a weapon and try to run people over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yep. I couldn't think of the gentleman's name, but I knew I wanted to say it was SOE, but I couldn't remember his name, and I didn't want to get it wrong.
Gotcha.
Taprack Stovepiper 199 says, "Screams and liberal. I'm offended. Corn is delicious." Well, I'm glad you enjoy it, good sir. Thank you very much for the 199. Magnus Hirschfield for 556 says, "With India and Pakistan in war and Israel being bombed, who will post blacked and slide threads on B and poll? ? Also, silver lining, no more spam messages." See, I think Pakistan and India need to go back to war, and all the porn and spam will be gone for a couple weeks. So that's
finally,
we could only be so lucky.
Absolute Moonman for $10 says, "Rolling for the most trigger-happy, nasty girls to be sent to LA."
Hell yeah!
It's like
all the deprived infantrymen that are just like, finally, I get to kill something.
So we need a negative IQ test for the Marines sent to LA. It's just the lowest ones possible.
Yeah.
Huge Ass for 499 says, "Is it gay to own an electric weed eater?" Yes. Got one for Father's Day, and I actually like it. Well, that's okay. If your kids gave it to you for Father's Day or your wife gave it to you, that's fine.
Well, hold on. What type of electric?
Oh, yeah, are you doing what type of electric weed eater owner are you?
Yeah, I am. because I just got one of the cheap corded plug-in ones. Because I figured they keep going up on the battery size, right? It's up to like 40 or 60 volts now. So I figured I would just do huge brain move and go with 110 volt and just plug it straight into the wall.
There you go. I mean, it depends how much you're doing, you know. If you
I
have
just
a
needed
huge
it for the
yard or like
weekend.
a little bit of trim, yeah.
Yeah, the battery weed eaters are fine. It's just once they start, they don't use the same like technologies like a Milwaukee drill where it gives you constant full power until it dies. They'll like
Mm.
they'll start to get weak, and then you'll really notice it, and then they're basically useless well before you run out of juice. So I'm not a huge fan of battery powered lawn tools.
Mm.
Yeah, I can't get past the battery life on them, and the batteries are so expensive. I do want. Somebody just mentioned robot mowers. I do want to look into those because I've seen a couple of those that look like they would actually be a pretty good fit for my use case. It's mostly level ground. It's fairly soft grass. It's not like I'm a super hilly area, or it's not like I'm trying to cut through ivy vines or anything like that. So Cobra Cast.
Yeah,
Hell
D-Day
yeah.
Cobra. He sometimes has the absolute best coverage. He just does what we do, but he just is plugged into all of the different things everywhere and has people sending him things all the time. But yeah, I mean that's really about all that we have tonight. I don't think it doesn't look like anything exciting is going to happen, so we can kind of call it here, unless you guys have something that you'd like to talk about before we head on for the rest of our Friday nights.
Well, I mean, I'll continue to talk about yard work for as long as people will sit around and listen to
Florida
it.
Flexing his
man gonna
dad,
talk about that.
degree.
Just change the title of the stream to yard work. And we'll just talk about that for the next 5 hours.
Friday night yard
And we could
work
just in the
stream.
background stream the Tel Aviv cameras while we talk about yard work.
Oh, that would
To
be
the-
hilarious.
To the
Gabe
tune of
Oder.
the Home Depot soundtrack.
Mm.
Gabe
Gabe Boner for 5 says Israel is also using the American THAAD system, which costs a literal $1 billion. Yeah, well, you're welcome.
Damn.
I guess your tax dollars.
You're
at work,
welcome.
so appreciate
Could you
it.
say his name just a little bit quicker, please?
Let me go back to it. Damn it, who was it? Gay Boner for $5. Thank you, sir. That's funny. I didn't even realize that. You know,
Somebody
Richard,
clip
you
that,
picked up on this
please.
stuff.
I will. Don't worry.
That Discord sound bite.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Hey, it's just his name. It's not his fault he was born that way.
It's just Gabe Owner. I don't understand what the big big hype is.
What the issue is.
Yeah.
All right.
I did want to say, did you guys happen to see that they finally released the hour and a half of lost footage from the Las Vegas shooting?
I saw somebody post about that. I haven't watched it yet. Was there anything interesting in it?
I did find it somewhat funny that there was a guy walking through and asked if the bomb squad had checked a specific bag that had wires coming out of it, and the one guy was like, "Yeah, it's just a vibrator."
Nice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Was it the bomb or was that actually just a vibrator?
No, it was just a vibrator.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, the cop asked him. He's like, "Wait, really?" He goes, "Yeah, it's just a vibrator."
Huge Ass 489 says, Richard, I have too much acreage for a corded unit. Rich person problems. I mean, that's a good problem to have, though.
It is very much. I'm just lucky that I have a very small area that I have to cut, and it's mainly just that the prior homeowner was dumb and put some massive stones out along the edge of the roadway to fuck up anybody's tires who got too close to the yard. And it worked well for
What
that.
a nice guy.
Yeah, it worked well for that, except for the fact that some of them are very much so buried.
Yeah.
So I either have to dig them up and put them somewhere else or just weed eat around them for eternity. So I'm probably going to trim around them until I get enough time to dig them all up, and then I'm going to put in a drainage system where they used to be. So That's going to be my
Nice.
next major project.
Sounds like fun.
Charles asks, did y'all already talk about the Ben and Lucas video? We mentioned it earlier, but yeah, Ben and Lucas Botkin had an interview this morning, about 35 minutes long with some additional information. So go ahead and check that out. Yeah.
I did
Take a look at that.
post the Lucas interview that you had on the Clips channel. So that posted today. So if you guys would like to go and give that a watch, John was the first person to get an interview with Lucas post
Oh,
T-Rex
yeah,
Farms.
I don't know how that worked out, but it did.
I hope that he calls his new company Asteroid Arms.
That would be pretty good. Meteor legs, something
Well,
like that.
it sounded to me like he's not really doing gear anymore, or he maybe
can-
is doing gear, but it's gonna be different.
He could
So-
just call his channel Asteroid Arms, and I'd be happy.
That's true.
I'm curious to see what it'll do. It almost seemed like, well, I don't know. I'm very curious to see because there's a lot he could do with this company, and I mean, he could do like tactical clothing, but undercut 911 or 911. Oh my god, undercut 911.
911.
We got him, boys. No, undercut 511 and make
T-Rex
like
Arms
good,
did 911?
not like sheepdoggy gray man tactical clothing, and that would sell really well. I mean, he could do bags, other types of gear.
Yeah, well,
So-
he specifically said he's coming out with a gear side and a clothing brand, and the clothing brand is not tactical. It is just regular clothing brand, and everything will
Regular
be under
skinny
the
jeans.
well, everything will be under the umbrella of Botkin Enterprises, and then each individual company will have its own name. So Botkin Enterprises will be the parent company, and everything else will be, its own little thing underneath that.
Well, he did say that he's going to take the Tony Stark model, so I'm looking forward to see what.
Do an early live check on this dude.
John Shepard for $2 says, "Show me, please. In my absence, John Shepard has a program called Tower Shield. I want to say. Let me see if I can.
Oh yeah.
Fast. Tower Shield, Give Send Go. Yeah, so it is Give Send Go, Tower Shield, by Mr. Casey Shepard, who's a part of the community here, and he is going to be raising funds to give to specific 2A cases, starting with starting a nonprofit organization to do so. So if interested, go ahead and check that out. That is Tower Shield Pro 2A. Solo Gordo let me pull this up, for $1.99 says, "What new video games are you excited for?" RE9? No, not really. I am a new game that I'm excited for. I don't even know. I was kind of excited for Doom: The Dark Ages, and then my computer can't run it because I don't have an RTX card, so that was lame.
Damn.
Yeah. So
You
yeah,
could
I don't
always
know.
get one and then risk your computer burning down.
Well, now you have $500 from Siley to put towards your RTX so you can play Doom.
That's true. Yeah, I buy it an RTX, whatever it happens to be. That's a good point. Fair point there, sir. And W Noblotch became a new member. I don't know what that means, but thank you, sir.
Sweet.
That means he
I
gets to
appreciate it.
use cool emojis, and if we do things like early access, he gets it. So
GTA 6, yeah, good luck. We're gonna have nuclear winter before we have GTA 6, sir.
maybe that'll finally give them time to finish it.
Yeah. They're all working in their bunker. It's finally playable, and there's no one left to play it.
Damn.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Jake, what do you got coming up?
Nothing really. I'm gonna be taking a road trip soon, going through the great state of Illinois.
Oh,
So
how exciting.
please. But yeah, other than that, I appreciate you having me on here. It's always fun hanging out with the guys and saying racist things.
Racist? What are you talking about? This is a racial equity safe zone, sir. Okay,
You're
never-
right. You're right. Sorry.
I don't think anybody even mentioned coin clipping this episode.
Not yet. Bones Maloney. What's going on, sir? What you got coming up?
I'm actually headed home right now. I just got done filming for the next video. It'll be a good one. We're going to piss off some people. It's okay. I hope everybody who watches it learns something, though. It'll be about AR accessories.
Oh, that should be fun.
It should be a good one.
Richard, what do you got coming up?
I'm gonna still be making clips over on the second channel. It's Out of Focus Clips. If you guys are not familiar with it, we do have a second channel where we take small segments of the streams and we repost them over there, so it's easier to consume.
Consume it again.
We do usually 2 to 4 clips a week, although we have been posting more regularly. So yeah, just go give that a watch. I'd be greatly appreciated if you would subscribe. We just passed, I think, 3,000.
Well, no, today we hit 3,333 subscribers on that channel. I screenshotted it.
I was going to say we just passed 3. We're at 3,334 right now.
Nice.
It's funny.
Go.
It actually it gained more subscribers last month than the main channel did. So there's that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for that.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Beating me at my own game. Charles says for $2, Broken Arrow comes out on the 19th. Modern RTS Broken Arrow. Okay, I'll look at that. I like RTS games. I was playing Red Alert 2, the remastered edition that came out. So I was playing that. I was like, oh, that's fun. Little blast from the past and a little updated so you can play it a little better. So cool enough. All right, and for me, I had a video go out, what was it, yesterday, 2 days ago, on the state of the industry on the Gun.Deals channel. I have a video going out tomorrow on the Gun.Deals channel on a inexpensive accessory that I hate on an AK that I dislike with carbon fiber. That's okay. So that should be a fun video for some of you guys. With all that out of the way, though, thank you so much for watching. Siley, absolute wild support tonight for the streams. I'm very thankful for that. I don't know why you would choose to drop $500 on this channel, but it is greatly appreciated. And for everybody else watching, supporting, absolutely insane. You guys are, this whole week has been kind of crazy. The Lucas Botkin stream on Sunday was wild. Very good time. Glad to see him doing well. The stream with Combat Wombat, that was absolutely insane. 2,600 people, I think that peaked at, which is a record for this stream. Everybody was tuned into that. Now, I do want to say that stream actually has a horrible like to dislike ratio. Not because of me, but because of Combat Wombat. It's so bad. It's one of the worst like to dislike ratios ever on one of my streams. But thankfully, it's not because of me. It's just the content, and I get it. People are upset at it. So it just is what it is. But
I've been trying to watch that little by little to pull stuff for clips, and it's just it's brutal. It's brutal.
Yeah, it's. All of the Twitter and Instagram clips have already been pulled and they're already online. Like the one where he goes over what the furry images were, and allegedly somebody sent me allegedly
what it was.
No. The furry Christian who was looking at the stuff, which is it's a joke, but it's also disgusting. Gabriel Baker 499 says Game of Thrones RTS was also announced. I think I saw something about that. I'm not really a huge Game of Thrones guy, but I am an RTS guy, so if it's fun, I'll play it. Ivan Gobble York Nabov for $2 says, is 9x39 dead in the US? Is 9x39 dead in the US? Yes.
Yes, it is, because
it was never really alive, was it?
Well, I don't see why people enjoy 9x39, because 9x41 exists and it fits in every AR out there. It's called 350 Legend.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
350
but
Legend
not...
it is everything that 9x39 should be.
I
don't think so. I think 9x39 does have a purpose as I suppose. What's the new one that just came out from Hornady? Not 8.6, 338 ARC. 338 ARC. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much the same thing. But excuse me, Logan sucks at shooting for $10 says also check out Weekend Gunners Gummer. Logan sucks at spelling for $10 says also check out Weekend Gummers Sun hoodies. He just launched some more, including M81. Yeah, he has his Sun hoodies that are out there. They're not
pick one
cheap,
up when I'm
but
not poor
they're
anymore.
yeah, no, you gotta. These are not poor certified, but if you want a cool ass hoodie, you gotta pay the price for it.
Yep.
Logan
He messaged me and told me- he messaged me a couple days
unironically made
ago,
that
and-
worse.
Yeah, he did. I'm gonna have to.
Censoring it did not help.
Not at all. Well, if he was gonna misspell it, he didn't even have to censor it. That's the funny part. But thank you for the $10, Logan.
I'll have to ask Lance about the gumming on the weekends.
Gumming. He needs a gum, like a Seattle gum wall camo.
Yep, you
paint
just
color.
you just
That's a
take
good one.
you take the dentures out and you're good to go, man.
Oof.
SB89 for $2 says, look into Call to Arms Gates of Hell. Yeah, if that's a video game, we'll take a look at it. Thank you, SB89 for the $2.
I think that is the one that what's his name? Admin Aaron. I think that's the one he plays online occasionally, and it looks like it's pretty good.
Interesting. Logan Sucks at Shooting for $2 says YouTube wouldn't let me say Lance's full title. Well, but did you have to misspell it as well as censor it? That's funny. Well, yeah, we know you had to censor it, but you said Gummer, not Gunner. So yeah, no, I know you had to censor it, but thank you for the $2, Logan. Stop being pores, yeah. Weekend Gummer, new channel name, new meme account on here. But all right, gentlemen, with all that out of the way, thank you so much for the awesome support, for being there along this wild ride. And yeah, we will talk to you soon, gentlemen. Hope you have a great weekend.
Obligatory chirp.
Man, these people took my peace from me, then they froze my bank account. I got so much hurt inside me, got no way to let it out. Think I'm stuck in the silence, where's my faith? I'm dying. Yes, I was a mess, but now I walk with Zion. The post that I'm dropping on Twitter, they tell me, hey, don't preach that. Now people don't see me in public, I'm riding with Jesus laid back. With all of the money and fame, still couldn't get my peace back. With all of the money and fame, still don't get to see my children. People see my Twitter, but they don't feel what I'm feeling. So I turn to Jesus, yeah, now I'm forgiven. Praise him, Lord Jesus. Praise him, Lord Jesus. They don't understand the things I say on Twitter. Praise him, Lord Jesus. They don't understand the things I say on Twitter. All my people worship, praise him, Lord Jesus. Praise him, Lord Jesus. Praise him, Lord Jesus. People worship, praise him, Lord Jesus. She wanna pray in Japan.